Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you doing? Welcome back for round 2 today, chat. We are about to hopefully witness a great mission here with SpaceX again for the second time today. The third launch of today, by the way. We have SpaceX Transporter-13 is set to launch here in about the next 20 minutes or so. So yeah, Transporter-13 carrying 74 satellites into a sun-synchronous orbit. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We have a lot of satellites on board this mission. Some very, very prominent companies, some that I have had the privilege of working with, in fact. So definitely looking forward to this mission. A lot of tech demonstrations, a lot of university payloads, all around 74 missions. Yeah, and it's going to be like a 2.5 hour long mission as well, because, you know, it's going to take like an hour to get to the pre-designated orbit, and then it's going to take like another hour and a half after that just to get through all of the deployments, 74 satellite deployments. So we're going to be here for a minute, chat. We're going to be here for a minute, but anyways, yes, that is what we have going for us this evening. Let me bring up the picture that sets it all off. There it is from SpaceX themselves. Bablam. Yes, good. Very nice. Yes. Let's see. Can we get into here? Yes, slightly zoomed in. Perfect. Yeah, so that's it. That's the stack. And that's only half of it, right? Because we're not seeing the far side. This is only half of the 74 satellites that are about to go. What's up, Lolpot? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well this evening, early morning, wherever you may be. Timer is at 16 seconds. Timer is at 16 seconds? Timer is at, no. That's 16 minutes. 16 minutes, right? Yes, 15 minutes or so. Yes, oh, it fixed? Oh, did it actually go weird? My bad. Yeah, Lolpot, thank you very much for the follow. Much love to you. But yeah, that is the overall stack that we have on this mission. So what is flying on this mission, chat? Basically everyone. We have, for the first flight, Albedo is launching their Clarity 1. Now this satellite up here, this big one, actually, can y'all see my mouse? Why can't y'all see my mouse? Oh, there we go. This big one at the very, very top here, known as Clarity 1 by Albedo, which is a commercial company. They're developing essentially refrigerator-sized satellites that are designed to go into very low altitudes in order to take very high quality images of Earth. And just how low altitude, we're talking like 200 to 300 kilometers, like very low altitude in comparison to what typical missions actually operate at. Most missions operate between 500 and 700 kilometers, 500 and 700 kilometers. They're like skimming the atmosphere. And of course, to offset the drag that they take, they have a big propulsion system at the bottom that is able to constantly produce some thrust in order to maintain their orbit. So that's pretty cool. We also have a number of other satellites here. Of course, like I said, 74. This one, this little babby one right here. Let's actually open in a new tab. There we go. Perfect. Yes. Excellent. This little babby guy right here is a hexagonal design. It has 8 solar panels that deploy from each face. This one is LizzieSat 3. Which is actually developed by a company in Florida known as Sidus Space. I had the pleasure of working with them a couple years ago, which was great. Glad to see their satellites continuing to take operation. We have the Ion vehicle from D-Orbit, which is actually an Italian company. So they actually are an Italian company. They now have a US office here in Colorado, where I am. And I'm currently working with them, which is pretty awesome. They're a cool group. We also have this one right here is the Winnebago 3 mission, also known as the Pioneer 3 mission. This is a mission that is a partnership between Varda Space and Rocket Labs. So Rocket Labs developed this satellite bus here, and then Varda Space is actually developing a a re-entry capsule, and inside this re-entry capsule they have in-space manufacturing capabilities. So the overall concept from a commercial standpoint, like economically speaking, is you send something up into low Earth orbit, taking advantage of zero-G, which actually helps in manufacturing a lot of different things like organics and like pharmaceuticals and who knows what. The zero-G helps with different technologies for manufacturing various elements, and then you can get those back with their return capsule. So that's a really cool mission. Here we have Firesat. Firesat is developed by Muon Space. Firesat is, well, basically exactly like it says. It's Earth observation for fires, if I'm not mistaken. This is ICE-I, another Earth observation payload from ICE-I. This is like X46 through 52, something like that. They have like 4 spacecraft on board this mission, and I think they go by 2. So it's like X46, X48, X50, and X52. Up here we have the first, actually I guess it's technically the second mission from Turion. Turion is doing in-space servicing technologies and in-space situational awareness, which is really good. So that's what they call their Droid 002. But yeah, we have quite the lineup, chat. Like I said, 74 missions overall. It's gonna be good. So let's see, has this started at 12:28? Yeah, there we go. We have the live stream up, chat.
My name is Zachary Lupin, and I'm an avionics supply chain engineer here at SpaceX.
Nice.
And I am Tyler Lionquist, an analyst for Starlink.
Ooh, a Starlink.
Before we get started, today marks the 23rd year since SpaceX was founded, and
it's going to be a bus. Yeah, it's a dedicated rideshare mission. The second one of this year, by the way.
Feats in pursuit of making humanity multiplanetary and creating a future to get excited about. And there's so much more to come. And today we are thrilled to be sending 74 payloads to orbit.
74 payloads, one rocket.
Hosted payloads, a re-entry capsule, and an orbital transfer vehicle, carrying 11 of those payloads.
So deorbit is the orbital transfer vehicle. They carry their own payloads to its final orbit. And then the re-entry capsule, I just told you, is from the Winnebago 3 mission from Varda Space and Rocket Labs.
Now, this launch marks our 15th
Hey, what's up, Shock? How are you?
rideshare program launch between our Transporter and Bandwagon missions. To date, SpaceX has launched more than 1,200 payloads to orbit for more than 130 customers across our entire rideshare program.
Now, see, that sounds impressive, right? 1,200 payloads for commercial customers.
Headed for the moon. If you're interested,
they've launched 8,500 Starlink sats.
Full list of them available at SpaceX.com/launches.
They've launched so many Starlink sats.
Working towards liftoff of 11:43 p.m. Pacific time. If needed, there is a backup launch opportunity tomorrow at 11:39 p.m. Pacific time. But right now, the weather is currently green on the Central Coast, and the range is ready to support.
It's spectacular and sad. Well, see, that's such a good problem to have, though, Shock. That's good. I'm glad. And yes, I understand the sadness of that.
Launching on today's rideshare mission on behalf of Albedo.
In a rapidly changing world.
I don't want any muting of the VOD, so. But yeah, Shock, I understand. Getting the kiddo college acceptance letters, that's awesome, though. That's good. But yeah, so we are about 9.5 minutes away from T0 launch. At the next marker in our countdown should be at T-7 minutes. And that should be when Falcon 9, we hear the call out for engine chill on the first stage. And so what they're going to do is actually take some of the liquid oxygen and start flowing it through the engine, start flowing it through the cooling channels inside the engines as well. All of that to, of course, bring the temperature of the Merlin 1D engines down for flight ignition. And then also it basically removes any sort of air that you might have trapped in your propellant feed lines. So that'll be happening here momentarily in just about 2 minutes from now. And then from there, nothing else until we have closeout of our liquid oxygen. That should happen at around the T-minus like 2.5 to 3 minute mark. We'll have the Transporter-13 purge all of the remaining liquid oxygen in their lines for the Transporter-13. And the mission that you're seeing here is really cool. It's from Satrek Initiatives. It's actually a South Korean commercial company that's developing a satellite here. And it's, of course, a very large, I believe, Earth observation satellite, which is really cool. I'm at the future by 17 seconds. 17 seconds. Yeah, we'll probably fast forward here. Actually, can I fast forward here? I think I can just hit the live button and see what that does for us. I don't know if that really did anything. You might be getting time dilation because I'm getting their stream, which has a lag, and then you're getting it from me, which has a lag, right? So it's probably a little bit of that, but yeah, we'll do what we can with what we got.
Now let's take a moment to meet today's vehicle on the pad, SpaceX's Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 rocket supporting today's mission is a 2-stage rocket designed for reliable and safe transportation of satellites,
So this is booster
cargo, and people.
1081, by the way. This is the 13th flight of this mission, or I should say of this booster, booster 1081. It's been on a 100-day turnaround, so its last flight was about 3 months ago, back in December, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so 13th flight for this particular vehicle.
Through the atmosphere. Once in space, the two fairing halves separate and fall back to Earth.
Now by 9 seconds? Okay, cool. So it that might be the Twitch lag.
Refurbished and reused on future flights. Both halves of this fairing are flight proven.
And I guess I can go ahead and stop
with
this,
one side flying
Don't
for
need
its
that
11th
anymore.
time today, and the other for its 8th time.
And with those payload fairings
Look
is
at
today's
that.
payload stack, which was encapsulated just a few days ago, and there's a photo of them right there on your screen. Now, right below the fairing, we have our second stage, which houses our single Merlin vacuum engine,
Nice.
or MVAC engine, which will take our payloads to their sun-synchronous orbit.
So this is flying out of Vandenberg, out of Slick 4E, and this is actually going to be a booster landing back RTLS style at landing zone 4 back at Vandenberg. So it'll kick back, it'll do a boost back burn all the way back to California. Not going to be doing a drone ship landing.
We'll start to return.
Yeah, another RTLS bin, exactly.
Good call out. In
So that was the
preparation
call out
attraction,
for
the
engine
clamp around
chill.
the second stage will
And then
slowly start to
we already
open,
heard that
then
rather, and that
strong
was
back will fly
for
away
the
from vehicle.
transporter rector to start unclamping and moving back into position for launch. And what you
Below
should
that,
be
we
able
have
to
the first
see
stage, which we usually refer to as the booster.
is the clamps right
The
up
first
there
stage
are
makes up the
opening.
bottom 2/3 of the vehicle and has 9 Merlin M1
These clamps go around the second stage just to
Those
make
9
sure
Merlin
everything
engines
stays
generate more than
rigid during
1.7
filling and everything like
million
that
pounds of
during
thrust.
transport as well.
The first stage supporting today's mission will be making its 13th flight today.
That's what I said. What did I say, chat? I just
Now,
said it.
about 2.5 minutes into flight, the first stage will separate and make its way back to Earth and attempt a land-based landing at landing zone 4, which is there on your screen, not too far from the launch pad. Now, because this is a return to launch site landing, during re-entry, when the booster slows down,
Right
from
now it's
moving at
between Cal
supersonic
Poly
speeds,
and
people
University
in
of
the
Washington.
immediate area
Happy to
around
catch
Vandenberg may
this
hear
stream
a
to watch the
brief
launch carry on. Much
double
love to you, my
thunder-like
friend. Yes,
sound, which is
absolutely.
referred to as a sonic boom. Now, reusability is a key to our future in space, and the sonic booms created by returning boosters are unique to reusable vehicles.
Similar sonic booms were heard during the return and landing of NASA's space shuttle, and famously occur following a
I love how they
Falcon
always have
launch
this
when
shtick
two
that they
boosters
talk
return
about
at
for the
same
sonic
time to
booms.
the launch site in Cape Canaveral,
For
creating a unique
RTLS
double
missions.
sonic boom.
They said the exact.
Pressurizing for strong back retract.
All right, there we go. Pressurizing for strong back retract.
Good call out. While these sonic booms have become well known to rocket enthusiasts at the Cape, they are becoming more well known on the Central
So
Coast and
you'll see
Texas, where our
those arms
Starship
right
vehicle
there
super heavy
basically
booster
unclamp
returns
from
to
the
launch
rocket
tower.
and open up.
To get an idea of how this looks and
Hey,
sounds,
Morden, how are you?
here's a look at what some of these booster returns have been like on a few previous missions.
I know a lot of people will be excited when they hear
Look,
these.
short babby nozzle, chat. You see the short babby nozzle?
And these are going to provide quite a show because you're going to hear those.
All right, again, I don't know what this music is, so I don't want to mute the VOD or anything, so we'll leave it there. Is this a polar LEO launch? Yes, this is a polar launch into low Earth orbit. So both, I guess. But no, yeah, it's going into sun synchronous orbit, which is somewhere on the order of like 96.7 degrees inclined, if my memory serves me right. So yeah, sun synchronous orbit. Oh man, look at those views though, chat. Just nice and easy, right onto the deck of the drone ship. There's the jellyfish. Ah, what a good flight. Falcon Heavy. Can't beat Falcon Heavy with the, yeah, with that view right there. Multiple vehicles coming back. You like my clear voice, Wolf. Much love to you. I'm glad I have that sultry voice to capture your attention. Oh, we missed the strong back retract. So the clamps are open. We can see it moving back in preparation for flight.
So at T-minus 3 minutes and 24 seconds, we are currently a go for an on-time liftoff.
Nice.
Now, in addition to
We should
helping
have
drive down the cost
closeout on
of
the prop
access to
load,
space by
and we
flying
should
reusable
see
vehicles,
basically at that point
SpaceX
this
is
vent
dedicated
right here on the
to
side give a
sun-synchronous
big
orbit,
purge.
like small
And what
satellite
that's going to be
launch
doing is after filling or after stuffing the tanks with liquid oxygen, and they're closing the valves and basically stopping any sort of filling, you still have liquid oxygen inside of the piping in the transporter erector. LOX load is complete. So next thing should be closeout, and then because there's a lot of liquid oxygen that's about to have a big hot thing right next to it, you don't want that liquid oxygen to flash to gas, because then that will rupture your line. So they make sure to get rid of as much of that liquid oxygen from those lines as possible through a big purge. And you should see that come through here momentarily.
Increases access to space for small satellite operators around the world, and we're excited to be able to offer these launch opportunities for our customers. For more info on those opportunities, visit spacex.com/launches.
Yep, the little stubby nozzle. Hey, Bobo,
Right,
good to see you. How are you?
The second stage LOX load to complete. Once that's finished, then Falcon 9 will be loaded up and ready to go with 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene and liquid oxygen.
Yep, 1 million pounds with 1.7 million pound force of thrust. That's like 7.6 meganewtons for those on the metric scale. So in about 52 seconds, we'll have the vehicle take over control of the countdown timer, basically automated go or no go. And that's called auto sequence start.
As you may have noticed,
Basically a
there are white
handover
clouds
of the
forming around
entire
vehicle.
clock to the
Those
vehicle
clouds are made up
itself.
of the chilled
Oh,
gas above the LOX
there we
tank
go
that
to
is
start
vented
seeing the
overboard to
purge.
maintain pressure in the tank as needed. When the vented oxygen mixed with the warmer air.
So that's a transporter erector, purging all of the remaining locks out of the lines that are basically inside here.
Now, at the T-1 minute mark, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and that'll mean that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the launch countdown.
I've already said that. Y'all are behind.
At the T-45 second mark, the launch director will give the final go, no-go for tonight's launch. We should be hearing that call out for
74
74
satellites, one launch vehicle, chat. By the way, I think this is the 31st mission of SpaceX this year. Just, you know,
we're just waiting
putting
for the
that
launch
out there.
director to give the final go for tonight's mission.
All right, we should have the final call here at T-40 from the launch director.
Go for launch.
There we go. LD is go.
And there's that final go.
Range
for
is
tonight's
green.
Launch. So let's
Vehicle's
listen in
looking
to the
healthy.
launch of Transporter-13.
Transporter-13, Lucky 13 chat. Nothing can go wrong. Knock on wood. Fingers crossed. All that jazz.
T-minus 30 seconds.
If you're anywhere on the West Coast, you should be able to see this, especially if you're south on the West Coast, because this is launching out of basically Lompoc in California, and it's going south.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Watch for the green
6,
flash of the ignition.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Green flash, engine ignition.
Lift off of the Falcon 9.
Ooh, listen to it, chat. The roar, the power. Never gets old. Vehicle is cleared the tower, and it should start rolling to align itself on the proper flight azimuth to head south, and it's already pitching down range. You've watched 3 launches today? Me too. Hell yeah. Yep, there it's rolling. You see it rolling to align itself to the proper flight azimuth through the clouds at 5,000 feet.
Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Now we're currently throttling down to prepare for max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle.
That audio is really good, isn't it? Oh, it's so good.
Good call out there. Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster.
Basically,
than the
it's now
increased speed
supersonic.
of the rocket.
Max
We
Q
should be
occurs
hearing that
because of the
call out
compressibility of aerodynamics.
Another good call out there. We should be hearing that call out for max Q in just a few moments from now.
So as he was saying, max Q is the maximum dynamic pressure.
And there we've just passed through max Q. Now
It
we
is
have
the
several
highest
events coming up in quick
loads
succession. First is
experienced by the
MECO, or
vehicle
main
on
engine
ascent.
Cutoff, where all 9 Merlin engines shut down in preparation for stage separation. Which
Saw
is
the
where
blood
first
moon
stage
eclipse?
separates
Nice.
from
There
the
you go.
second Stage. Next, the MVAC engine.
MVAC chill.
The MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which you will hear called out as second engine start 1 or SES1.
Yeah, so the MVAC chill is just like they did for the first stage. They're going to start flowing some of the liquid oxygen into the engine on the upper stage in order to bring it down to flight temperature before ignition and to get rid of any sort of air pockets in the propellant feed lines. Ah, that's looking so good. As you're climbing higher in altitude, that atmospheric pressure is going down, so you get that amazing under-expanded plume effect as the plume starts expanding outward. Hey, Misadventures, yep, we're back.
About 15 seconds away from main engine cutoff.
Where's the onboard camera of this? It always looks so good from the onboard camera. Yo, weather guy.
Philanthropist detected.
Philanthropist detected. Weather guy coming in for that 12-month gift subscription from Nova Raptor, entering the 4th month. There's Miko, main engine cutoff.
Confirmed.
Great view, as always, from the interstage. Watch for the green flash on the 2nd stage.
I'm back in the show.
There it is, green flash. Excellent. Green flash is the igniter fluid that is used. You can see
And
the
there you
first
heard and
stage
saw those
turning
5 events
around.
that happened back-to-back,
It's turning
including
around to
main
do its
engine
boost
cutoff,
back burn.
followed by
There's the
stage
boost back
separation.
burn.
Then we had the stage 1 flip.
Oh,
and
that's
following that was
awesome.
the second engine start.
So what you're seeing there are the 2nd stage engine and the 1st stage engines, because they're basically firing at each other. The 2 exhaust plumes. Oh, you can see the 1st stage right there. That's the 1st stage right there, that little dot. You guys can see that. That's amazing. So because the 2nd stage engine is pointed at the 1st stage and the 1st stage engine is pointed at the 2nd stage, basically what happens is the 2 exhaust gases come together and they compress each other, and you get that really awesome lighting effect.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There's good fairing
And great
sep.
call out there, confirming fairing separation.
So the boost back burn is ongoing, and that's used to slow the
So
forward
again, this is an
velocity and return the first
RTLS
stage back
return
towards
to
the landing
launch
site,
site.
which is
Like,
LZ4
just
today.
great
As a
minds.
reminder, those fairing halves will make their way back to Earth for recovery.
Boost back shutdown.
There's boost back burn shutdown.
That's boost back shutdown.
So next thing in the flight should be entry
Now, the
burn.
next major milestone coming up is entry burn
What?
on our Falcon 9 first stage,
These-
which is scheduled to occur at around the T+6
These
minute
cast
mark.
members, my goodness.
We're currently in our first MVAC burn, and this burn should last
So you're
for another
starting to
few
see
minutes.
the grid fins get deployed, and what you're seeing here in the background, that light, is from the cold gas thrusters. It's part of the attitude control system on the first stage. It literally uses compressed nitrogen, spraying them out of nozzles on the top of the bottom of the interstage here to actually be able to orient the booster while there's no atmosphere. Otherwise, it has no other way to turn. So now it's orienting itself for that entry burn.
Using the atmospheric
To
drag
stop
slow down
copying me,
Falcon,
I know,
which
right?
would add extra stress to the
Looks a
vehicle.
little dark. It does look a little dark, huh?
Following entry burn, the booster will initiate the landing burn, which should slow the vehicle down even more for a successful land landing.
Second stage is looking good. Should basically expect somewhere on the order of like 27,000 kilometers an hour. So we're not quite halfway to orbital velocity. You don't like the way the tornado... Do you have a tornado warning? Oy. What you got to say? It's just me. If someone on Crew 10 took an Apple AirTag, would it track to their family members back home?
Now, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical space infrastructure.
Probably.
The Falcon 9 first
Believe it or
stage
not.
that is supporting today's mission will be performing this.
Because doesn't an
entry burn
AirTag
for
just
the
use
13th time
GPS?
tonight.
Or does it have to
Booster
use
previously
Wi-Fi
supported NASA
to
Crew
actually
7,
connect?
CRS-29,
If it has to use Wi-Fi, then
Transporter-10,
no.
Earth
But if it
Care,
just uses
and
GPS,
Aurora
well,
1,
yeah, I guess it
6,
wouldn't
and
because it
6
uses
vehicles
GPS
are
for
on
itself.
nominal
But then how does it
trajectories.
communicate
And
to
6
your
failed
family
missions,
members?
And we had a good call out there for good trajectories.
So I
of
don't
both
think so.
vehicles. Now, the payload fairings for this mission are also flight proven, with one half flying for its 11th time and the other half flying for its 8th.
AirTags use Bluetooth, but do they actually have? Do they just ping like
Now, as
Wi-Fi,
a
like
reminder, we should
Bluetooth
be
signals,
hearing that call
or
out
do they
for
actually
entry burn
talk
startup
directly
of
to the
Falcon 9
GNSS
first stage
system?
in just about 15 seconds from now.
Like I know they communicate to your device through some wireless means, Bluetooth apparently, but for actual positioning, is it just through GNSS? Oh, it only communicates through Bluetooth. Okay, so then it uses other systems for their positioning. So in that case, no, not with an AirTag. All right, so now what we're going
good
through
call there
is
for
startup
entry burn startup
for
of the Falcon 9
supersonic
first stage.
retropropulsion. That
This
is
burn
the
will last
entry
for
burn.
about 15
It
seconds,
goes
and as
from a
reminders on the
1 to a
left-hand side of your
3 engine
screen.
burn back to a 1 engine burn. So this maneuver is designed to not only slow the vehicle down, but to also help
And good
it
call there for
shield
entry burn
itself from
shutdown.
this
Now, as I
right
mentioned
here.
earlier, we will be attempting to
Plasma.
recover this
Plasma.
booster for
Oh,
its
and there
13th
is
time
the
today.
landing
We're
zone at the
targeting
bottom
a
there.
land-based landing
But
at
this
Vandenberg
plasma,
at
these
LZ4.
sparks you're seeing, literally will eat and tear through your vehicle that's re-entering the atmosphere. Typically, that's why you need something like a heat shield, but what better heat shield than your exhaust plume from your engine? So that's what's called supersonic retropropulsion. Helps really protect the vehicle as it goes through that hot stuff.
15 seconds
And we
from now.
have uninterrupted footage all the way down into the landing zone. That's awesome. That's so good. Oh, there's Vandenberg. You can see the mountain in the background.
Call out for the landing burn start on the Falcon 9 first stage. This is the final burn that this booster will see before touching down on LZ4.
The roar, chat. We already heard the sonic booms. Come on, stick the landing. Oh, yeah. RTLS is easy for SpaceX nowadays.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Ooh, there we go.
And as you saw and probably heard, we had a successful
Easy mode,
first
chat.
stage landing at landing zone 4,
That's the
marking the 13th landing for
That's
this
the
specific
13th landing for the 13th transporter mission.
And
wow.
we had a good call out
So
there.
far,
Now,
so
next
good.
up, we're
13's a
expecting
good
shutdown
number.
of the second stage MVAC engine in just about 20 seconds from now.
Yeah, that's awesome. 13th mission, or I should say, 13th mission for that particular booster. And then overall, this is the 13th transporter mission. Man, booster 1081 back again. Going to be refurbished and flown again, as far as we can tell, for a 14th time. Never gets old. Never, ever.
MVAC shut down.
Oh, and look at the undulation from the oscillations on shutdown. Did y'all see that, chat?
Call out for Seco 1. We're
That's
just waiting
awesome.
for confirmation of good orbit.
So now, chat, guess what? We wait for an hour. That's what we do. I actually think it's more like waiting for about 45 minutes until they do second engine
Nominal
start
orbit insertion.
1.
And great call out there for nominal orbital insertion.
Yep.
Now, coming up next, we have the second burn of our MVAC engine on board the second
I
stage.
guess it's technically
or SES2 at around the
SES2, yeah.
T plus 51-minute mark.
Yeah, T plus 50 minute mark. There we go.
After that, the first
And there
batch
was much
deployments will
rejoicing
begin
indeed.
At about T plus 54 minutes. We'll be back in about 40 minutes to bring you live coverage of SES2.
Nice. So like I said, chat, we're in it for the long haul because this is going to be like a 2-hour full mission. Why? Because they have 74 payloads to deploy, and you can't just release them all at once. That would be really bad. So yeah, they, release several every few seconds, and then they wait a period to get separation, and then they launch several more, and then they wait more time and coast to, get more separation from the previous batch. So yeah, it's going to be like a 2-hour mission here for full deployment of all 74 satellites. But yeah, so pretty much we have to go up until T plus 51 minutes into flight for second stage engine start. Second stage engine start, or what they call SES2, second stage engine start 2. So yeah, a little bit of programming in the meantime. No, we'll probably just chill out and talk some space news. If you guys haven't, I don't know if y'all are living under a rock, but Crew 10 flew today. And they're on a 28-hour flight to the International Space Station. But yeah, Crew 10 was a great launch. We have 4 astronauts going to the International Space Station. We have Anna McLean, who is the commander of that mission. Awesome. She's like a Black Hawk pilot. She's flown a previous mission before this to the ISS as well. So she's a veteran in more ways than one. We have Nicole Ayers, who is actually a greenhorn, who was in the United States Air Force flying, I believe, F-22s, which is awesome. She's the pilot of the Crew 10 mission. And then we have 2 non-NASA astronauts, one who's also a veteran who flew to the International Space Station previously. His name is Takuya Onishi. He is from the Japanese Space Agency, or JAXA. He's part of that mission as a mission specialist. And then our second mission specialist flying to the ISS right now is a cosmonaut from Roscosmos, or part of Roscosmos, not from Roscosmos, Kirill Peskov. And I believe he is a greenhorn as well. So we have 2 greenhorns and 2 veterans of spaceflight all headed to the International Space Station, set to relieve Expedition 72, specifically Crew 9, the 2 astronauts that came up on Crew 9, and also Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who had their extended stay after Starliner. After Starliner brought them up, Starliner had their issues. Starliner got sent home without them, so they extended their stay, and they now slotted into Expedition 72. So a little rearranging of mission priorities, which is pretty interesting. Well, have fun, but I need to go pass out. Weather guy, have a good night, my friend. Thank you very much for tuning in and for the sub. Much love to you, my friend. Yes, for the gifted sub continuation of Nova. Is it possible to fly extra quick trajectory to ISS from USA like some Soyuz launches? I believe it is, Kato. I don't exactly know what goes into like the mission planning for Dragon, like why they do take longer than Soyuz, right? Because Soyuz can do it in like 6 hours or something like kind of ridiculous like that, right? So you see like Soyuz do something like 6 hours or whatever, and then Dragon takes 28. I even think, didn't Dragon used to, like on a previous mission, only take like 24? Only 24, right? But yeah, even, you know, it takes a day to get to the ISS. I don't exactly know what they take into account for their mission design, but I guess it's what works for them, and they don't see a reason to change it right now. But yeah, 20, I don't see there being any stopper from doing that other than just, you know, flight dynamics and designing the mission around that. They still have about 20 hours to go by now, don't they? Worse than a flight from LAX to Auckland. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, even when I took my flight from LA to South Korea, I think that was only like a 14-hour flight. So yeah, like, you know, those long flights are definitely tough. And you have these 4 people in a, what is even the volume of the Dragon capsule? Like, that's something that we should be able to see here. Let me see. SpaceX Dragon 2 volume. It's about 9.3 meters cubed, or 330 cubic feet. So if that puts any you know, spatial reasoning in your mind, they are basically having 4 people probably fit in a space smaller than my office that I'm in right now. So yeah, for 28 hours. They have to share that space with a toilet. Yeah, it's definitely probably not the most luxurious time, but at the same time you're in space, so that's cool, right? That should take it down. You know, they're probably constantly doing things for NASA. NASA constantly has them, you know, checking things and you know, whatever. They have, I'm sure, a packed schedule that otherwise they're sleeping. So I guess it can go by pretty quick. You knew you shouldn't have had Taco Bell last night. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. That would be really, really bad for sure. Yeah, Kato. Yeah, I wish I knew more about like what SpaceX takes into account for their mission planning, because I've also often wondered that as well. Like, why do they take 28 hours there? And I'm sure somebody knows somewhere, but I don't know if it's just like a preference in their mission design, you know, dictated by NASA, or if it's actually, you know, because when you compare something like Soyuz to Dragon, even though Dragon now has 10 crew flights under its belt, and before that numerous crew resupply missions, right? And it's built off of Crew Dragon 1, so it's got some heritage, right? You compare something like Dragon 2, though, that only has 10 actual astronaut flights, to something like Soyuz, which has, like, what was the last MS launch for astronauts on Soyuz? Like, aren't we in, like, the hundreds or something like that? So, you know, having Soyuz be very many years old with a lot of flights under its belt, you know, maybe that's part of the thing. Maybe it's fuel efficiency. It could be. Yeah, it could certainly be its approach capabilities, but I don't know. Like I said, I wish I knew. Essentially the size of a slightly larger people mover. Yeah, a car. Yeah, exactly. Something like a van or something like that. It's definitely pretty small. Dragon has more than 10 crew flights. Oh, well, that's true. They do have Inspiration 4 and Polaris Dawn and Axiom. Yeah, that is true. So I guess they have what, three extra. So they're actually technically on the 13th flight. So yeah, you're not wrong about that, Ben. That's a good observation. But yeah, anyways, short answer, I have no idea. If somebody knows, I would love to learn, but I don't know what specifically, what the specific reason is for a 28-hour flight time to the ISS. But anyways, chat, like I said, we are waiting here until that clock right there reads T plus 51 minutes. Then they will cut back and we will see, well, hopefully they'll cut back to video if they actually are over a ground station to where we can get our video signal. We should be able to see the Merlin 1D vacuum engine start up again for a, I believe it's like a 4-second ignition, just to kind of circularize into the 500 kilometer altitude that they're targeting. And then from there, we start releasing all of the things, all 74 of the things, chat. So should be pretty good. How many Axiom missions have there been? Like 3? Have there been 3? I guess there have been 3. Holy cow, you're not wrong. Here I was just thinking like, oh yeah, they've done 1 Axiom mission. But no, I guess you're right. They have done. Yeah, Axiom 4 is set to launch this year. Yeah. Man, time flies, chat. Holy cow. It's all like one big blur. Like SpaceX operates almost too quickly to keep it all straight, you know? Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Don't they use Starlink for video feed now? You know, I want to say they do, but I also don't know. Because I definitely know that we have had instances in previous missions, unless we're using, well, no, because all the second stages are new. Because I definitely know that we've been in a mission previously where we didn't actually get to see the second stage engine start because we weren't over a ground station. But I don't know if that, like, what that was. Maybe they have the option to put it and the option not to put it depending on like the mission requirements, right? So maybe that was all what it was. But anyways, chat, we have quite the lineup here for the overall payloads. Like I said, there are 74 payloads on this mission. We have like 11 of them being operated by Exolaunch, or I should say Exolaunch is like the separator mechanism provider. We have 4 ICE-I Earth observation payloads. ICE-I is sending up 4 90 kilogram small sats for synthetic aperture radar. There's actually a lot of synthetic aperture radar missions. We actually just saw, you know, what was it, like 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, whatever it was, Rocket Lab just sent up a synthetic aperture radar. If you guys don't know, SAR is what synthetic aperture radar is. SAR satellites, essentially what they do is they have a big array of sensors that send out microwaves, and those microwaves will bounce off any sort of object that is below it, like the Earth. And when those signals bounce back to the SAR satellite, it's able to actually map in very, very high resolution the topography of Earth. And so not only is it just like taking a flat image, but you also get like the actual 3D spatial reasoning from that information as well. And it's actually kind of interesting. They've also talked about how they can, if those signals hit an airplane, they'll get the bounce back of the airplane and they'll model that as well. So yeah, SAR satellites are kind of a new-ish technology. Like they're really starting to take a larger hold, maybe within like the last 6 or 7 years. Just because, you know, the technology isn't necessarily that new, but being able to put it into a satellite and have all of that system work in a vacuum for long periods of time, they're just now kind of starting to take off, probably, you know, a few years ago. They're cooking us from space. Yeah, exactly. Not that microwave. Although I guess technically, but no. Yes, very low power microwaves. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how SAR satellites work. But like I said, ICE-I for Earth observation, getting that SAR imagery, is sending up 4 90 kilogram spacecraft on this mission. I think they call them X, and like I said, I think they go by 2s or something like that. So I think it's like X46, X48, X50, and X52 for this particular mission. We also have a number of what's called Lemur 2 satellites, providing shipping, tracking, and weather data. That's actually done by Spire Global. So I think they have, those are 6U CubeSats, and if you don't know what a U is, it's one of the very few aerospace standards for satellites, and a U is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters cubed. So literally something that can fit inside the palm of your hand, right? And a 6U means you have 6 of those cubes stacked together, and it kind of, in a 6U configuration, creates something similar or like akin to a shoebox. So, you know, you usually have 3 U's and 3 U's basically attached to the sides, and it creates basically a shoebox. So it's a shoebox size satellite, and they have several of them. I don't know how many they have on this particular mission, but a number of these ship tracking CubeSats, which is really interesting. SAR sounds like a good starting point for another anti-science conspiracy theory. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We can use satellites to cook my hot pockets now. Yeah, sure. I mentioned it earlier, but they also have the LizzieSat. LizzieSat 3 is basically, for this mission, a technology demonstrator, and it's also a payload hosting system. So they have a few payloads that are on board from commercial companies looking to do technology demonstrations. And I think they are also doing Earth observation, if I'm not mistaken, as well. LizzieSat's kind of cool because they are testing 3D printed structures in space. So their idea is, how can we mass produce satellites? Their whole thing is actually creating octagonal. I think their system is octagonal, 8 sides, and they're 3D printed structures, which is kind of interesting. We also have what I called earlier the FireSat. It's also called the FireSat Prototype, or FireSat 0, or MuSat 4. I think it goes by a number of names, all from Muon Space, a provider of Earth observation and environmental monitoring. Of course, like the name FireSat, they're looking to monitor for fires as part of their mission capabilities. A couple other really cool missions is the Droid.002. I mentioned this earlier, from Turion Space. That is a 90 kilogram microsat, or minisat. I think minisat is less than 100, but anyways, a small sat, and they're looking to do in-space servicing operations with their droid spacecraft. And this particular one is looking for tracking orbital debris from space instead of from the ground, which is actually really interesting. And then, of course, testing some technologies for in-space satellite servicing as well. Conspiracy, thanks for correcting. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You tripped me up, but yeah, I know. It was late, and I was like, conspirational theories. Yes, that makes sense to me. Yep. Europeans are researching microwave energy transition methods from orbit down to Earth. Popcorn for the entire city. Yeah. They want to do beam energy, and actually there's a few big, well, I don't want to say big, there are a few startup companies here in the United States working on beam energy, which is quite literally exactly what it sounds. Instead of having, your wireless charging for your phone, which uses induction, what if we were able to harness something similar and send microwaves down carrying that energy to where we could literally have massive solar panels in space beaming that energy down to a terminal on Earth? So yeah, I mean, the concept is theoretically sound, I guess. I think the biggest issue is like, how much losses do you have, and how, of course, accurately do you need to track that beam width? And then, of course, managing heat that might be generated from that. I mean, it's definitely a problem, but it's not an insurmountable problem. The U.S. university tested one last year. That's awesome. Yeah. That's pretty cool. The last one of the big missions that second to last of the big missions that I'm really familiar with is actually another one from Loft Orbital, if you guys have heard. If you guys know Loft Orbital, they are kind of one of the bigger names in the payload hosting space. And essentially what their business model is that they create standardized satellites, and then those standardized buses, they essentially do what SpaceX does with their rideshare mission, and they look all across the aerospace industry looking to sell space on their satellite vehicle. And they call their satellites YAM. So this one is YAM 8, YAM, for Yet Another Mission. So this is Yet Another Mission 8. For anyone who works in computer software engineering, I will probably get the joke. But yeah, Loft Orbital is continuing their business model with more missions. All right, so let's see, where are we at? 25. We're about halfway through this coast phase chat. Like I said, we're waiting up until about T plus 51 minutes into flight for the second engine start 2, which is they're going to come back and show us the second stage performing like a 3 or 4 second burn in order to put the payloads into a nominal 500 kilometer circular orbit. At least I think it's 500 circular. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what that actually does for us. I'm not sure exactly what their destination orbit is, but I believe it's around 500 circular is their destination. But anyways, continuing on with this massive manifest chat, we also have, I showed off earlier in that picture, the D-Orbit satellite. So D-Orbit, is building a set of what they call ION OTVs. ION, I-O-N, OTV standing for Orbital Transfer Vehicle. And quite literally, it is a vehicle that's essentially just a big propulsion system that ferries other satellites that it carries to another destination orbit. So those are really useful, and those are starting to become really, really popular, right? So we have D-Orbit doing them. We have Impulse Space. You guys know Impulse Space. They have their own OTV, or last mile delivery service. We also have it's one that starts with an M. Momentous Space is also looking to do that last mile delivery service, and there's actually a need for it, because as you guys can see in this particular mission, we have 74 satellites all being dropped off at the exact same space, or the exact same point in the exact same orbit, right? What happens if you actually need to go into a slightly higher orbit or slightly lower orbit, or slight inclination change to get a different right ascension of ascending node, or a different inclination? You need your own propulsion system, but sometimes propulsion systems are really expensive. So why not rent space on a bus that just will take you to where you want to go? So that's what D-Orbit, that's what these last mile delivery services are designed to do. And I think D-Orbit is carrying like 11 payloads on board, which is kind of crazy. They have, I think, Alba Orbital, which is another commercial company that develops what they call pocket cubes. So you have CubeSats, they make pocket cubes, which are essentially, I want to say like maybe smaller than like my phone, which is a Google Pixel. Like they're very, very thin satellites that are basically just deployed, that have maybe like a small radio and a processor and a sensor on board. And they do have their uses as well. I think they're looking to use this for amateur radio, Internet of Things, and Earth imaging, believe it or not. So they have a cluster of these, what they call pocket cubes, these really, really small CubeSats, that they have like 9 of them on board, or 5 of them on board, I think. So yeah, D-Orbit's carrying like 11 satellites overall, as well as testing a Morpheus space propulsion system, which is really interesting. For such a technical and complex industry, quirky space mission names don't stop to amuse me. One second. Speaking of quirky names, I just saw recently on my X feed, if I'm not mistaken, let me see here. Let me go just to a new X. Loft Orbital. I think they provided their mission patch, and I can't remember what the name of this particular mission was. So there's Loft Orbital. Yet another mission. Yeah, that's what I saw. Ain't no mountain high enough. So what do you get as mission names when you have a bunch of quirky aerospace engineers? So yeah, there's your YAM 8 mission patch, if you will, and the name of this particular mission, other than YAM 8, is Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Yeah, there you go. Starting to sound like Inception, satellites carrying satellites carrying satellites. No, right now, it's satellites carrying payloads. That's right. That's right. Anyways, yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, let's get back to Transporter. And are we live? Every time I do that, it looks like the... Okay, no, we're good. For a second, I was like, the time keeps going backwards. No, we're good, though. Brilliant. But yeah, so that's D-Orbit. We have a few missions from NASA flying on this particular flight. I think they have like 3 6U CubeSats, which is really interesting. We have the Aerospace Corp. If anybody knows about the Aerospace Corp, they're kind of a, I actually don't know what to call them. They're an organization. I don't exactly know if they're like a company. I think they're like a research organization that is basically dedicated to like advancing space technology. And they have at least 2 6U CubeSats on this particular mission as well, doing technology demonstrations for like, future tech for different missions and whatnot. So that's really good. What What else do we have on here? We have, I think, 9 1U CubeSats from the Tel Aviv University in Israel. So they're using this as STEM education, flying 9 1U CubeSats. That's actually really cool. Oh yeah, and the last one that I didn't really get to talk about yet. Well, okay, there's 2 more that I didn't get to talk about yet. We mentioned it previously at the very beginning of stream. They have the Varda Space Winnebago 3, and as I mentioned, this is the in-space manufacturing capsule with Earth re-entry capabilities. So as I showed earlier in that picture, they have a half sphere cone re-entry vehicle or re-entry body, and inside that they can basically fill it with whatever payloads they want for in-space manufacturing or testing or who knows what, and then you can actually get your payload and your manufactured items back. So it's inside of this re-entry capsule, and then that re-entry capsule comes back. And then not only that, but Rocket Labs actually developed the satellite bus itself. So Varda created the capsule, and then Rocket Labs created the satellite bus for maneuverability, and both of those are part of the Winnebago 3, and I think Rocket Lab calls this Pioneer. Basically, they created a Photon bus, Photon being part of the kick stage that they developed that we saw launch earlier today. So I think they call this one Pioneer 3, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a really cool partnership. And then the last one I want to talk about is the big Earth observation commercial high resolution satellite built by the Korean satellite manufacturer SatRec Initiative. That is the big 700 kilogram spacecraft with a big telescope that we saw in the intro video. And so that is a really, really interesting mission. Really, really huge telescope. It's a 700 kilogram bus. I think it's actually probably the biggest satellite on the vehicle. But if we can find that that picture that I had earlier, yeah, this one. There it is right there. Look at that monster. These things on the side here that you see are star trackers. Essentially, star trackers have a database of images of stars that the satellite should be able to see at different points of its orbit. And the satellite tracker essentially is able to take a picture of whatever it's looking at, match that picture, that star, with respect to the database, and then use that with another one that whatever it's pointing to get the attitude and orientation of the spacecraft. So you can see here it has 3 star trackers, one there, and one there, in order to get basically 3 different measurement points, because you can imagine for an Earth imaging system, your like accuracy for pointing has to be on like the 1,000th of a degree. So yeah, they need to be really, really high precision pointing, really, really high precision like slew tracking, so that way they can actually maintain a position over Earth or whatever. And so yeah, they're using those 3 star trackers there, which is really cool to see on the actual vehicle. I think here you can actually see on the Droid 002 or the Droid 2 from Turion, that's a star tracker there and a star tracker there. Let's see, what else do we got here? Let's see, that looks like a GPS antenna, potentially. That looks like maybe a patch antenna for a communication system. That almost looks like a reaction wheel. That's like a huge reaction wheel, if that's what that is. For the, this is FireSat here. So FireSat's a big, like 350, 400 kilogram Earth observation satellite for like weather and fire tracking and other things like that. Let's see, that is... Oh yeah, here you can see, so this is deorbit, right? This is the OTV, or the space tug. You can see here it has a number of payloads on board. So if we even zoom in even more, you can see that's a 6U deployer right there. That looks to be like a 3U system. That's another 3U system. That's a 2U system, so it's 2 10 by 10 centimeters stacked together. So yeah, they got a number of payloads on their bus, which is really cool. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Finally, got it. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is right there. That might be Yam? That might be Yam 8, but it looks a little bit big to be a loft orbital mission. That's Ice Eye. Earth observation. Yeah, a lot of Earth observation payloads. And then this one's really cool. That's the albedo. So like I said, albedo is essentially designed to be very, very low altitude. So that way you don't have to have as high of a resolution camera, or you can at least get better resolution with a good resolution camera than you would have at something flying out, say, 500 kilometers altitude. So they're looking to get like sub-meter resolution by getting so close to the atmosphere. What do they use to orient it? Usually it's a combination of, yeah, cold gas thrusters and reaction wheels. Usually it's just reaction wheels to actually maintain and get the slew. And then of course, over time, your reaction wheels will saturate because the motor that spins the actual flywheel can only go so fast, which means it can only give so much, it can only absorb so much angular momentum. And so eventually, because it can't go any faster, your vehicle will start to rotate as it acquires more angular momentum from drag or atmospheric effects, or, you know, gravity perturbations, you know, you know what. So then they have to have some sort of like reaction control system with thrusters in order to basically allow those reaction wheels to spin down over time. And then when they spin down, you get that adverse rotation, and so you have to combat that with the thruster. So it's usually a combination over time. Don't mass wheels generate vibrations noticeable for imaging sensors? It's a good question. I mean, I guess they can. I would assume you would just design them ideally to not do that. I mean, I know that's easier said than done, but yeah, I know that they certainly do create some vibrations, but I don't think they're necessarily like that. Otherwise, I don't know how you would do it, because like any sort of thrusters could never get the precise orientation to track something, right? Because a thruster isn't like in games and whatnot, where you can just give a little bit of throttle just to keep it there, right? They have to constantly thrust, and they're never going to get like completely zero rates. So I can only imagine the only way to do that is through reaction wheels. How it works? Yeah, I mean, you could put them on dampers. I mean, that's definitely something that they do, is put them on dampers. And then usually, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, the whole point of having a flywheel is that it should be balanced. So long as they're spinning at a constant rate and they're not spinning up or spinning down, I don't think that the vibrations should be that big, but I do know that they use dampers. So that is definitely something that they have to do in order to separate it, so that way any sort of slight vibration doesn't actually get transferred. Oops, that was not the button I was looking for. All right, we got about another 12 minutes before they should be back for this flight, or for this second stage engine ignition. But yep, pretty good so far. Not excited for a triple-digit summer. For like temperatures, yeah, I can understand that. I can certainly understand that. All right, chat, we're coming up on another, on the hour here. So on the Twitch side, I'm going to run a very short ad break before they actually come back and do the second stage engine ignition. That way you guys don't get any sort of ads that Twitch might inject into the stream, and nobody entering the stream will get any sort of ads as well. So don't worry, the stream's basically going to be on pause. They're just kind of cruising, and yeah, we'll chill until y'all get back on the Twitch side. All right, that should be running. Get rid of all of the Twitch ads, the very gross ads. Ah, yes, indeed. So like I said, it should be about 12 minutes, maybe 11 minutes now until we get that second stage engine ignition. That is designed to essentially bring the vehicle to its staging point for nominal orbital insertion for payload SEP. And we'll see exactly what altitude that is. Because right now the altitude's not actually changing. The speed's not changing either, so it's actually I guess, circularized. Either that or we've lost, like, this isn't updating. But I thought it was going to go into a 500 kilometer circular orbit, so that would have meant that it would have been put into a transfer ellipse with like a 500 kilometers apoapsis and then like say 161 kilometer periapsis. But I guess we'll find out what all that has to do. Because I think they only do one burn here for a second stage engine start, and it's like a 3 or 4 second burn. So I guess we'll see. All right, Kato, have a good night, my friend. Yes, very understood. Have a good Saturday. Much love to you for hanging out. No, don't do this stream. There you go. So we sit and we wait, chat. We sit and we wait. Hey, Graham, how are you doing? How you doing, Predominant? Hope you're doing well. Yep, we're sitting and we're waiting because we have about 10 minutes or so until second stage engine start, which should put this on a trajectory to then get it started on its payload deployments. Tonight we're launching 74 satellites into a sun synchronous orbit, which is about a 96-degree inclined orbit. So yeah, so far so good. Mission was absolutely beautiful, launching out of Vandenberg Slick 4E. We had an RTLS style boost back burn, landing all the way back down at Vandenberg. It's been good. Been good so far. So yes, now we are just chilling. The actual overall flights that we kind of already went over, but we got some dead air to fulfill. Is this guy right here? Look at that. And this isn't even all the satellites. So yeah, we have a number, like I said, 74 missions overall here. I believe these are the Aerospace Corp's 6U CubeSats. This one by Rogue Space is another 6U CubeSat testing payload hosting capabilities. We have a big Earth observation satellite here, a big Earth observation satellite here, a big Earth observation satellite here, a big Earth observation satellite here. Bing chilling, that's right. Yes, a number of Earth observation satellites. Another Earth observation satellite here. But yeah, this is the FireSat by Muon Space. This is probably like X50 or X51 by ICEYE. This is the LizzieSat by Sidus Space. This is the Space IT by a Korean company, which I am forgetting the name off the top of my head. Who is that Korean company? I just said it too. Satrek Initiative. Yeah, so Satrek Initiative is there. We have this one, which is a big refrigerator-sized satellite that is actually meant to be atmospheric skimming, so very, very low altitude in order to get really, really high resolution images of Earth. And that's by Albedo. This is their Clarity 1 mission. This is, I think, their first mission, actually, which is really interesting. Not only that, but a whole slew of other missions and payloads being flown. 74 in total. It's a process, and we're in it here for a chat because it's going to be a 2-hour mission. We're just 45 minutes in. 2 hours because we gotta launch 74 payloads. So we'll see. We will see what is going on. Twitch should be back from the brief ad break, so that way we don't get any more ads throughout the, at least for the next, I think, hour, for a lot of the deployments that are about to happen. And we should be about 5 minutes away from that second stage engine start. Now, if you guys didn't see this yet, I showed it earlier. But check this out. How cool is that? If you guys don't know what this is that. By the way, awesome image of Crew 10 last night. So this is, of course, what we saw, or what they saw from Cape Canaveral. This is the lunar eclipse from Earth looking at the moon, but from Firefly. Firefly got the image from the moon looking at Earth as it's moving in front of the sun for the eclipse. So that is awesome. I think this is the first such image since like Apollo 12. Yeah, when was Surveyor 3? Because I think Surveyor 3 got it as well. Got a similar image. Surveyor 3. 1967? 1967. And then Apollo 12, yeah. Apollo 12 got it again in 69. So yeah, it's been that long since we've had such an image from of the eclipse seen by the moon for Earth. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty happy about that. And then, like I said, this shot right here. Ooh, that compound image of Crew 10. Getting that that compound image of the lunar eclipse. Pretty on point, chat. Pretty on point. All right, make sure we're live here. I think we should be. There we go. Just another 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and we should get through this next bit of the mission phase for second engine start. And I'm interested to see where this drops it, because I would have thought it would have gone into a 500-kilometer circular orbit, but right now it's sitting at 161 circular, and so one engine will not, or one engine burn will not be able to get it into a 500-kilometer circular. So I guess we'll see. Either that's wrong, or it's only going to go into the transfer right now. But to my knowledge, I don't know if they actually do another engine burn. So I guess we'll see. I mean, they are doing more. I know that they're doing more engine starts, but I guess what I'm wondering is, like, do the other systems that are being dropped off immediately after second stage engine cutoff, or SECO 2, do they not have to be at that 500-kilometer altitude circular orbit? Maybe not. Maybe not. You didn't know I was part TKF? Yep, I sure am. Yes, indeed. The Knowledge Fellowship. Bringing knowledge to a stream near you. Maybe not the very low Earth orbit. Well, that's true. Maybe not the very low Earth orbit. I didn't think about that. So we should have. Let me actually see here. Oh, interesting. Actually, we have all of the EXO launch satellites. So that's going to be. Oh wow, we actually have a lot that are being dropped off down here. If that's the case, where is? I'm looking on the SpaceX website here for their list. Where is Clarity 1? They have a lot being dropped off here. So second stage engine start 3 doesn't happen until an hour and 42 minutes into the mission. After another long coast phase after. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Clarity 1 will deploy at 1 hour and 6 minutes. So it does deploy down here. But it's interesting that so many other ones are being deployed down here as well. LizzieSat is, the AeroCube Sats are, a lot of CubeSats. The Tel Aviv, Israel Space Agency satellites are, Orb Astro is. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot happening, or there's a lot being dropped off here. All right, let's see. Should be coming up here on second stage engine start. Oh, there we go. We got video. Oh, look at that shot. Nice. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right, it looks like it already happened, chat. Looks like it's already happened.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Nominal orbit insertion.
There's confirmation.
Oh, there you
Good
go.
work.
Look, we got it back. It's now 524 kilometers. How about that, chat?
And with that burn complete, we are on track to start our first
So I
wave
think
of
the
payload
telemetry
deployments
was
in
not
just
coming
over 2
through
minutes from
during
now.
the coast phase.
If you're just
I
joining
thought
us,
that was
Falcon
weird.
9 successfully lifted off from Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base at 11:43 p.m. Pacific Time. The booster then separated from our payload stack on the second stage and made its way back to Vandenberg, where it successfully landed at LZ-4. Following a 40-minute coast phase, we're now looking forward to our first batch of payload deployments.
So yeah, it's going
Now,
to be
as a reminder,
starting.
we are sending 74 payloads
74.
to sun-synchronous orbit on today's flight.
Yeah.
And those include CubeSats, microsats, hosted payloads, a re-entry capsule, and an orbital transfer vehicle.
So first
carrying
one's going to
11
be
of those
the
payloads, which will be
Nyla
deployed
satellite,
at a later
which was
time.
manifested by
As a
EXO
reminder,
launch.
there will be a
Oh,
total
look,
of
there's the
47
deorbit
separate deployment events today.
orbital transfer vehicle.
We're expecting 25 separate deployment events.
It's going to take a minute,
Each
chat.
of these will individually separate from Falcon 9 second stage, one right after the other, and we should be hearing callouts as those payloads are deployed. Additionally, we're expecting to have live views for most of these deployments.
Nice. So yeah, the first one's going to... So all the first ones are going to be EXO launch.
This
EXO
first
launch is
deployment
launching
sequence will
first.
conclude with Space IT and Clarity 1, two payloads that we highlighted earlier in our
So
show.
all these EXO launch,
IT is-
all these EXO launch deployers are going to have CubeSats coming out of them. So yeah, definitely look at these here first. They're going to basically pop open, almost like a vertical launch system on a Navy on a Navy cruiser or destroyer that fire those missiles. They have that little pop up, and then the missile comes out. It'll be almost like that, except the little CubeSat satellite's going to come out. So the first deployment should be at 53, like 57, like almost at the 54-minute mark. And then it'll go Nyla, and then the oh, there it goes. You see it, chat? It was super fast. Just popped out of there, a little spring-loaded launcher.
Payload Nyla, separation confirmed.
Yep. Next one is going to be the Tel Aviv.
7 through 9,
there it goes.
Separation confirmed. Orb Astro TR5, separation confirmed.
Oh, there goes that one.
IOD1, Startical,
So
separation
fast.
confirmed. Almantha, separation confirmed.
So quick. We should have...
NewSat 1.
Yep.
JinjuSat 1B, separation confirmed.
Gosh, it's going so quick. Oh, man. Next one should be at 5503, which will be BotSat 1. Oh, no. Come on, video, come back.
BotSat 1, separation confirmed.
So they're actually going a little bit faster.
Tomorrow S5, separation confirmed.
Oh, okay, there we go. I was about to say, we should be getting a second camera. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Oh, that was such a good little freeze frame. That was such a good freeze frame of that deployer. You see that little shoebox? It's a little shoebox satellite.
OTP2, separation confirmed.
Oh, that was Rogue. So Rogue is doing I think their second payload hosting satellite. Rogue Space is really cool. They're working on in-space servicing missions.
1 through 3, separation confirmed.
You got to go to the other camera, boss.
And as you've been listening in, you've heard the first 10 of these deployment events happening during our Transporter-13 mission.
Tavel 2, 4 through 6.
Go to the other camera. It's not happening from here. When is the startup going? Oh, there's that one. Oh, did you see it?
Separation confirmed.
It was over here. It was off to the left. Just barely saw it. Happened just like right there. Like right there. When is the startup going to grab a decommissioned nuclear sub for launching small satellites? Yeah, no kidding, right?
Aerocube 18A, separation confirmed.
Aerocube is from the Aerospace Corp. We covered that one earlier.
Aerocube 18B, separation confirmed.
Looks like it has a bit of a roll. Yeah, it does go into a roll in order to help get separation, right? You don't want them all going into the same.
Separation confirmed.
Oh, nice. That was Orca 2B. That was actually a Georgia Tech University satellite, a 12U CubeSat there. 12U, so like 12 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter cubes stacked together.
Separation confirmed.
Oh, LizzieSat! Look at that! That was the octagonal vehicle that I was talking about earlier. We should have Droid going, not the next one, but the one after that.
Sphinx, separation confirmed.
Next one, we should have Turion's Droid, which I think is maybe this one? No, not this one. I think it's one behind it. Oh, come on, cameras.
Droid 002.
There it goes, yeah!
Confirmed.
Look at that. That's from Turion Space. Turion's doing in-space servicing missions. We should now have more CubeSats, I believe, launching from somewhere. Don't know where. I just like hearing the guy read them off. He's calling, he's calling boarding groups. Yeah, indeed. What's it say on your ticket?
Tomorrow S6, separation
Oh, look at
confirmed.
that! Oh, great shot. And that's a Rocket Labs deployer right there, by the way, chat. I'm pretty sure that's Rocket Labs deployer. So they basically procured a CubeSat deployer from Rocket Labs. Absolutely predominant. Oh, so good. We should see Varda Space, the big Rocket Labs vehicle with the capsule on board. They got switched to the other camera, though. It's not here. Varda Space is on the far side.
M-cell, separation confirmed.
That brings us to 20 out of 25 deployments so far.
Come on, go to the other camera. I want to see the Rocket Labs vehicle separate. Yes! All right, so it's right here. That's Varda. That's the Winnebago 3 mission. It's got a re-entry capsule.
W3, separation confirmed.
Woo! Look at that little Curie engine. That's the Curie engine from Rocket Labs. Oh, it's so good. So good, chat. Oh, man. We now have the deorbit vehicle, this one right here. This is deorbit.
Ion SCV, marvelous.
There it goes.
Separation confirmed.
That's the OTV, the orbital transfer vehicle that's carrying like 11 payloads on its own. That's awesome. We should now have a SAR satellite. One of these, I guess. I think that's ICE, so I don't think it's that one. Maybe that one? I'm not sure. It's a SAR satellite. Haven't heard confirmation yet. That'd be one of the big ones, I think.
In just about 20 seconds, we should be hearing the call out for one more payload, and then we'll be taking a short break afterwards.
I think 2 more payloads.
DSRTD,
Oh, there it goes, yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah, one of the big ones. That's a SAR satellite.
And great call outs so far for those
Ooh,
payload
look at that
deployments.
one.
We've currently deployed 20.
Look at those massive SAR arrays.
Now
They
we've
have
got
the
just around
massive
4 minutes until
arrays.
the next 2 and final payloads for this deployment sequence. So we'll be taking a short break.
Those
So until then,
massive
sit back and enjoy some
microwave
more space
transmitters
jams.
for SAR, synthetic aperture radars. Oh, awesome. Awesome. That was so good. Glad I stayed up to catch this one. Isn't it awesome? Wait, what is that? What is what? What is what, Will Code? Yep, smoke break. That's, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, smoke them if you got them, right? Oh, that was so good. Y'all see the CubeSats? That was so slick. Little CubeSats are really cool, man. They're a really cool way to like try and get something into orbit that's fairly cheap. Fairly cheap with respect to spaceflight, right? You're still probably looking at $175,000 just for the launch cost, and then depending on what you want to fly, probably at least another, $300,000 to build a small shoebox size satellite. But in comparison to some of these big vehicles, like this one right here is probably like a, it's probably a This vehicle is probably like a $1.75 million just for the launch cost because it takes up a full ESPA port, basically a full ring on the SpaceX transporter mission. So the launch cost alone for this type of satellite is like $1.5 million. And then let alone the development is probably $5 million for something that big. So yeah, you're looking at like a $6 million satellite there instead of a, $500,000 satellite. Yeah, it was. No, it was not. I'm sorry, Terrace. That's not what that was. That was a SAR satellite that we saw at the end. The next two spacecraft are the large telescope spacecraft up here, and then Clarity 1 is the big low Earth atmosphere skimming box that you mentioned. That's coming up here next at 1 minute and 6 seconds. Or sorry, 1 minute and 1 hour and 6 minutes. Sorry, it's late. Brain not functioning at full capacity. So those are the next big ones to go. The two big payloads, right? If I show you the picture that we were talking about earlier. Where is it? This guy. Yeah, this guy. So what we're about to see next launch is this one right here, which is the Space IT with the big telescope. And then this guy, which is Clarity 1 by Albedo, commercial company named Albedo. And that's the skimming, the Earth skimming, or atmosphere skimming satellite. So those should be the next two to go right now. The two big ones. Yeah, so that'll be at 1 minute and 5 and 1 minute and 6. Clarity is deploying at 1 hour and 6 minutes. Actually, I think it's closer to 1 hour and 7 minutes, depending on their timeline. And then we wait for another 30 minutes as they cruise. They're just going to be playing music. I don't want the VOD to mute. Got indigestion, chat. Goodness. All right, should be maybe a minute more. And at that minute, we should see the big Space Eye launch. I think from here, we need the other camera. If I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to figure out if that's the camera that we want to be looking at. Yeah. Oh, actually, that is the right one. So the camera that they were just showing, we'll see the Space IT. Maybe if the vehicle is rotating in the correct direction. This is Space IT right here. You can tell that that's the big star tracker that we were talking about earlier off to the side. And since we are slewing this way on the second stage, we should see it pop up over here off of separation. So that should be coming up at 1 hour and 5 minutes and 15 seconds into flight. We'll see if that sticks.
Coming up in just a few moments from now, we should hear that call out for Space IT deploy.
Ah, look at
Now,
Earth,
as a reminder,
though.
Space IT is a commercial high-resolution imaging satellite owned and operated by the Korean satellite manufacturer Satrec Initiative.
Satrec? That's how you pronounce it. I thought it was Satrec.
IT, separation confirmed.
Okay, let's see it. It should be maybe right here, depending on the second stage slewing or not. It might not be slewing because they want it to deploy outward. Because it doesn't actually look like... We're still slightly rolling, but it doesn't actually seem like the stage is necessarily slewing like it was. Oh, look at that! There it is. Massive solar arrays on the side. Those will extend out later. And then you have the big, what do you call it? Space telescope on the front there. Beautiful indeed. That's awesome. No, go back to the other camera footage. Oh, it's going out of screen view. Okay. That's cool. Next one is Clarity. Clarity is that big refrigerator style of satellite. It's just a big box surrounded by solar panels. Hey, what's up, Jersey? How are you doing? Doing pretty good. We're watching all the deployments. There are 74 satellites being deployed on this mission, and we're looking at 25 separating right now. think we're looking at the 25th about to happen.
Now, coming up about 30 seconds from now, we should hear that call out for Clarity 1 deploy. Now, as a reminder, Clarity 1 is an Earth imaging satellite launching on today's rideshare mission on behalf of Albedo.
Y'all already know this. We've already been talking about all of this for like the last hour. So it should be launching from this pedestal right here. Can we just appreciate the milling that SpaceX does for these rideshare attachment points? Look at this. This is fully milled aluminum with 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter bolt hole patterns. That's cool. All right, we should have separation if the camera cooperates. Oh, look at that. There we go. That's a refrigerator size satellite right there.
Clarity 1, separation confirmed.
Nice.
And fantastic call out there. So with the call out for
to the other
Clarity 1 being
camera,
deployed,
dude.
that'll bring us to the close of our first deployment sequence.
dare you.
Now, as a reminder, this was 25 out of
It's
47
an amazing mission,
deployments.
isn't it? Oh, man, why did
Next
you...
up, we are going to coast until the third
Camera
NVAC
guy doesn't know
relay,
what he's
or
doing.
SES-3, which should occur at about T plus
Oh,
1
yeah,
hour,
in D
42
Jersey.
minutes.
All right, so
Until
now we
then,
have about a
enjoy the
40-minute
space views
or a
and space
35-minute, 35-minute break again. So let's watch that back, chat, because we have basically 40 minutes. Let's definitely watch that back, yeah? That was really good. So we want to start back at the 50-minute mark. All right, so the first ones, like I mentioned, chat, are the CubeSats. CubeSats out of those launchers, they're spring-loaded. They go out fast. So definitely keep an eye on the...
Now, as a reminder, there will be a total of 47 separate deployment events. Stage 1 right now.
All right, so watch all of these, right? The first ones happen, I think, over here. You'll see these pop out. You'll see this one over here pop out. You'll see this one off to the side pop out. It happens super quick.
After the other, and we should be hearing callouts as those payloads are deployed.
You're lucky if you could drill a
Additionally,
hole
we're
in a
expecting
flat
to have
plate.
live views for most of these deployments.
This is going to be a quick replay of what we just witnessed.
This first deployment sequence will conclude
Oh,
with
let's
SpaceX
go ahead and keep
mission
going forward here.
developed to Rapid 1.
Payload separate Elo.
30 seconds.
There it goes. Oh, did you see it, chat? Let's see if I can pause it.
We're
Oh, come on.
30 seconds.
Oh, God, it's so fast. What the heck? I don't know if my reaction timing is up for this. And the stream keeps... Oh, there it is. You see it? There it is, little babby sat. It's a little 3U CubeSat. That's awesome.
Seconds away from the start of deployments.
Half the payloads are those boxes? Yeah, half the payloads are. More than half, I would imagine.
Payload Nila, separation confirmed.
So that was Nila.
Table 2, 7 through 9.
Oh, there goes the side one.
Confirmed.
There's one that happens over here as well.
5, separation confirmed.
Yep, there it goes.
IOE1,
So fast.
separation confirmed.
It's so fast. Essentially, how these payload deployers are designed is they have, you can actually see it right there. They have one line. That one line is only meant to unlatch the box, and then everything else is spring-loaded. So as soon as the electrical signal, the data signal, is sent to unlatch the mechanism here, the door is essentially just free, and it's on like a small spring, so that way it opens up, and then the payload is also spring-loaded on the inside. There's actually a spring at the bottom of the box that gets compressed with the CubeSat sliding in. And so everything is just spring-loaded. So it's like super, super simple, right? And it just gets yeeted out of the CubeSat deployers.
Separation confirmed.
We should build a giant spring to launch payloads to space. Yeah, fair enough. All right, you're lurking? Heck yeah, absolutely. Single spring to orbit. I like it.
NewSat 1, JinjuSat 1B, separation confirmed.
I hate that they didn't go to the other camera angle soon enough. I guess they were having camera issues like they were here.
BotSat 1, separation confirmed. Tomorrow S5, separation confirmed.
Yeah, they were definitely having some... Oh, look at that! I just paused it. Look at that little CubeSat! That's a 6U CubeSat. So you basically have 1, 2, 3 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter cubes. and then you have 2 of them basically bolted together on each side. So you have 3 of them in a line here and 3 of them in a line here that create a 6U structure. Look at that little guy. Isn't that awesome? Who was it that said SpaceX would need a bigger trampoline? I don't know. But yeah, look at that little guy. That's cool. And you can see the solar panels on the top here. Those are designed to spring load open as well once they actually commission the satellite and get signal to it. But yeah, that's a little babby CubeSat. Like I said, it's about the size of a shoebox. Quite literally. Yeah, it's pretty tiny. Yep, they were having some communication issues.
OTP-2, separation confirmed.
So Rogue is doing a payload hosting mission here with a 6U CubeSat. What are the lifespan of these satellites? Typically, you design it for about 5 years for these small guys.
2, 1 through 3, separation confirmed.
It obviously kind of just depends on what the mission is. Like if it's just a tech demonstration, depending on what the tech demonstration is, they might only do it for a few months, quite literally. But yeah, typically if it's like a payload hosting satellite or something like that, they design it for like a 5-year lifespan or so.
And as you've been listening in, you've heard the first 10 of these deployment events happening during our Transporter-13 mission.
Level 2, 4 through 6, separation confirmed.
And we should have RapSat, and then we should have the AeroCube missions.
RapSat.
There's the RapSat.
Separation confirmed.
It looks like it got hung up there a little bit. It didn't seem like it got yeeted out very fast. AeroCube should be next, wherever that is. I think an AeroCube down here. Might be on the other side, though.
AeroCube 18A, separation confirmed.
Yeah, it's on the other side. So this one right here should, I believe, be next. This is called Orca 2B satellite. This is actually built by my alma mater, University, Georgia Tech. So that's pretty cool. 12U CubeSat. This is a 12U, by the way. So 2 6U CubeSats basically stacked together.
18B, separation confirmed.
If I can get a good pause here.
Orca 2B.
Oh, look at that. See, do you see how spring loaded those are? They just go boop, completely open.
Orca 2B, separation.
There it goes. Look at that. It's just a box. It's just a box, chat.
Confirmed.
Then we have LizzieSat. LizzieSat's on the other side. So they got to switch to the other camera view. Up there it is. So LizzieSat. Let's see. That's Varda. I think LizzieSat's behind this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's behind this one.
LizzieSat 3, separation.
Oh, it's behind this one. There it is. Little octagonal vehicle there.
Confirmed.
Look at that guy. Got 8 solar panels that deploy outward like wings. Satellites can come in common size like a shipping container. Yeah, that's what's known as a CubeSat. So a CubeSat is probably currently the only aerospace standard in existence for like satellite sizes. And quite literally, like I said, 1U is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And then there are standard configurations for multi-U systems. So you can have a 1U, which just basically fits in the palm of your hand, right? Like a 10 centimeter cube. You can have a 2U, which is 2 of those stacked together. You can have a 3U, which is 3 of those stacked together in a line. But then from there, you can get into a 4U, which is 2 U's squished together. Then you can have a 6U, which is 2 3U stacks integrated together. And then you can have obviously a 12U. A 12U is 2 6U's together. And then you can have a 24U. Yeah, basically, I think 24 is technically the largest standard size. But yeah. Yeah, look at that little guy. Little octagonal vehicle. So next one should be going is this guy right here.
Separation confirmed.
Not this one. The next one is going to be the droid sat. I think droid sat's behind this satellite right here.
Droid 002, separation
There it
confirmed.
goes. A cool little vehicle. After droid, we should have the Tomorrow satellite. I think that's a pretty small sat, like a CubeSat. No, stop it. Why you gotta be like this? Got a little wait period here between deployments.
Tomorrow S6.
Oh, there it goes. Look at that guy. So that's another 6U CubeSat. So there you can see one cube there, one cube there, and one cube there. So 3 cubes, 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters in a row. Nice. Ah, that's so cool to see. Look at that, with Earth in the background and everything. I mean, like, my goodness, chat.
Separation confirmed.
Brings us to 20 out of 25.
So the next one should be at
Vard-
15. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
W3.
So I was about to say Varda. This is the Rocket Labs and Winnebago, or so Varda and Rocket Labs combined system. So Rocket Labs developed the spacecraft bus here, and then Varda developed the reentry capsule there, which is cool.
Separation confirmed.
That's a big boy. That's like a 400 kilogram spacecraft right there, 300 something kilogram. And then next we should have Ion. Ion's the orbital transfer vehicle. That big boy right there too.
Ion SCV, Marvelous Mateus. Separation
Look at
confirmed.
that. Nice. Marvelous Mateus. We should have a SAR payload separate now.
In just about 20 seconds afterwards.
Oh, there it goes. That one right there.
DSAR-TD, separation confirmed.
So again, this is a synthetic aperture
And
radar.
great call-outs so far for those payload deployments.
So if you can see it, those are the big like panels that will deploy almost like solar panels, right? And they basically have all of those microwave transmitters and receivers. So as the vehicle sends out microwaves, it's actually trying to then detect those reflections. And that's how a SAR satellite gets very, very accurate, high resolution topographical data. So not only instead of just taking like a flat image, you're actually getting topographical information like 3D depth perception, which is really interesting out of a SAR satellite. Those are those big panels that deploy later.
Currently deployed 23 separate events.
Nice.
Now we've got just around 4 minutes until the next 2 and final payloads for this deployment sequence.
So then we got a little coast phase here. At about the 6 minute mark, 5 minute mark, yeah.
P, separation confirmed.
We should see it come into view. This is the big Earth observation system. When a plane flies over because they need micron precision. That's crazy to think about, rocket science. That's crazy to think about. Yep, there it is. So this is, I think, the 700 kilogram spacecraft here that has the pretty large Earth imaging telescope in it. That's cool. And then we should see albedo mission coming up here.
Should hear that call out with rideshare.
Any second now. I think they had a late call from what we saw in the video. Because I remember seeing it before they called it. Yep, there it is. And that's another refrigerator-sized satellite there.
Clarity 1, separation confirmed.
Nice.
And fantastic call out there. So with the call out for Clarity 1 being deployed, that'll
Oh,
bring
look
us
at
to
that,
the
chat.
close of our first.
Is that Egypt? That's the Nile, right? Yeah, the Red Sea.
Deployment sequence. Now, as a
Look at
reminder,
that.
this was
Isn't that
25
awesome?
out of 47 deployments.
Yeah.
Next up, we are going to
Look at
coast until the
that.
third MVAC relight, or
That's
SES3,
amazing.
which should occur at about T+1 hour and 42 minutes.
There's a
Until then,
Sinai Peninsula.
Enjoy the space views and the space jams.
Yep, there's the Nile. Gosh, what do they call it? What's the head of the Nile? That goes the Nile, like the delta, right? Isn't that what it's called? A delta? That's cool. All right, well, let's catch up to where we are now. So like I said, we have a coast until around the T+1 hour and 42 minute mark, where the engines are going to do 2 burns actually to go into a higher orbit. Oh man, that's going to be kind of ugh. we have 2 coast phases coming up. So we have a coast phase before third second stage engine start at 1 hour and 42 minutes into flight. And that's going to burn for like 1 second, I think. And then we coast for another 30 minutes after that to do another second stage engine start 4 for another 1 second burn. And then we get into more separations. Do we do any more after that? I don't think we do anymore. So that's good. But yeah, it's gonna take a second, chat. It's gonna take a second. Oh man. So yeah, we got some waiting time here. That's a cool point of view indeed. But yeah, look at all of this milling here. Like seriously, all of this is like custom made by SpaceX to fit into their particular transporter mission. Like same thing up here, like this massive basically pedestal with these structural what would you actually call this? Stringers or buttresses, or yeah, I don't know what you would exactly call these, but that's all like custom made for this mission. So yeah, it's really cool to see. Just a big honking slab of aluminum cut down. All right, so we've got, what did they say? 25 out of 74 done so far. We got about another 20 minutes or so to chill until we have second stage engine start. And then we gotta do 2 second stage engine starts. So we basically have about an hour, I think, about an hour until payloads start deploying again. Not quite an hour, like 50 minutes. So yeah, another break chat, another chill stream time for sure. What we could do, I guess, since we still have at least 20 minutes here, we can actually go back and watch the launch from the beginning. No, we won't watch it all the way to this point, obviously, to the beginning, but we can at least see the flight, which would be pretty good. Aha, yes. We can see the flight, chat. We can see the flight.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
So this was a great flight
And
here.
great call out there for Falcon 9 startup. We're just waiting for the launch director to give the final go for tonight's mission.
Do they redesign the mounting system every mission specifically for the customers? I think so. I mean, not the plate, right? The plate's pretty standard.
LD is go for launch.
But like that pedestal that
And
you see
there's
at the
that
top
final
was
go for
custom
tonight's
made
launch.
for this
So
particular
let's listen
mission.
in to the launch of Transporter-13.
So a beautiful flight out of Vandenberg tonight, Slick 4E.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds.
So again, chat, watch for the Rainbirds.
10, 9.
Add deluge system there, and then it's going to be a green flash. And that green flash, right, is the igniter fluid, also known as TEATEB, T-E-A-T-E-B. It stands for triethyl aluminum and triethyl borane. And essentially what those two fluids are is when they come together during the ignition process, they create what's known as a pyrophoric igniter fluid. Pyrophoric means that it spontaneously combusts with oxygen. Well, guess what's flowing through the combustion chamber during startup? Liquid oxygen. So as that igniter fluid comes into contact with the flowing liquid oxygen, you start getting combustion, and then after that point, you start flowing your RP1, and that combustion starts sustaining itself, and you have ignition of your rocket. So watch for that green flash, because that igniter fluid, when it basically hits that oxygen, sparks green.
5, 4, 3, 2.
There it is,
1.
green flash, ignition.
Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Brilliant sound on liftoff.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Nice. The orbital constraints? I don't know. They typically go to sun synchronous orbit, but in regards to the right ascension of ascending node, basically the time that they launch, I don't know. I don't know what dictates that. Probably
throttling down to prepare for max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic stress.
Probably the primary payload.
Max Q is reached
when would dictate that.
Good call out there. Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster than the increasing speed of the rocket. We should be hearing that call out
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Another good call out there. We should be hearing that call out for Max Q in just a few moments from now.
Good call out though.
Max Q.
Max Q.
And
So again, max Q, the vehicle does throttle down, and so it now should be starting to throttle up as it passes max Q.
Cutoff, where all 9 Merlin engines shut down in preparation for stage separation, which is where the first stage separates from the second stage. Next, the MVAC engine.
MVAC chill.
The MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which you will hear called out as second engine start 1 or SES1. Then the first stage boost back burn will place the booster on a trajectory to landing zone 4. So keep
X is
an eye
having
out for these
troubles.
events happening back to back. It will be quick.
Oh, that's such a good shot. I wish we could get the onboard camera from this point of view, because that expanding plume, right, just looks so good from the onboard camera. Especially when it gets to this point where it starts to get really, really expansive, and it almost turns like clear, you know, and almost like a blue color from the onboard camera view. Turns into like a jellyfish look. It's looking like a jelly. And then we at least get the interstage fairing shot, which is always good.
Main engine cut off.
Stage separation confirmed.
So again, on the second stage, watch for the green flash. It uses the same igniter fluid.
And back ignition.
Green flash and ignition.
Stage 1 boost back startup.
And there you heard and saw those 5 events that happened back to back, including main engine cutoff,
and then
followed by
that
stage
shot right
separation.
there, chat.
Then we had the stage 1 flip.
Again, like I
that was
said,
the
what causes this is you have the second stage burning into orbit, right? But you have the first stage burning back to do a return to launch site. And so what happens is that the 2 plumes, oh, and you can also see this right here. That's the first stage, that little dot right there. The little first stage is all the way over there. But because you have the 2 plumes basically pointing at each other, they interact with each other by compressing each other, and you create these awesome lighting effects. Yeah, first stage is doing a boost back burn all the way over there. Up, and it's getting dimmer. Fairing separation. There it goes. And then we should have boost back burn shutdown. There it is. Nice. Very clean, chat.
That's boost back shutdown.
So yeah, like I said, now we should see
now the next major milestone coming up
the
is
grid fins
on our
deploy,
Falcon 9 first stage,
and then you're also seeing the attitude control system thrusters pulse here.
We're currently in our first MVAC burn, and this burn should last for another few minutes. As I mentioned, the next milestone will be the first stage entry burn coming up in a few minutes. Today, Falcon 9 is performing 2 burns in order to land.
Now, the first burn, known as the entry burn, slows the vehicle down before hitting the
Why don't you
denser
call
parts
it by
of
its
the Earth's
proper
atmosphere.
name?
Today's entry burn will be a
Supersonic
single-engine entry burn
retropropulsion,
where
chat.
only E9, the center engine, will relight. And without this burn, we'd only be using the atmospheric drag to slow down Falcon 9, which would add extra stress to the vehicle.
Following entry burn, the booster will initiate the landing burn, which should slow the vehicle down even more for a successful land landing.
You're voting for me to run I2 stream or for SpaceX streams from now on? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your confidence.
Now, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical space infrastructure. The Falcon 9 first stage that is supporting today's mission will be performing this entry burn for the 13th time tonight. This booster
Like I
previously
said,
supported
booster,
NASA Crew 7, CRS-29, PACE,
Booster 1081,
Transporter-10,
13th mission for Transporter-13. It's the double 13s, chat. Means it's good luck, right?
And 6 Starlink missions, and we had a good call out there for good trajectories of both vehicles.
We're
Now,
on
the payload fairings for this mission are
trajectories.
also flight proven, with one half flying for its 11th time and the other half flying for its 8th.
Should see the supersonic retro propulsion start up here. And again, the supersonic
Now,
retro
as a
propulsion
reminder, we should be
maneuver,
hearing that
or the entry burn, goes, it ignites engines in a particular sequence. It goes center engine start, so 1 engine. Then it lights the outboard engine, so then it goes into 3 engine burn. You'll notice a change in the plume from basically a nice circle when it goes from 1 engine into basically an ellipse or an oval when it goes into the 3 engine burn. And then it does the exact opposite. It shuts down the outboard engines, going to a single engine burn, and then it shuts down completely. And that's the end of the entry burn.
Call out for entry burn startup of the Falcon 9 first stage in just about 15 seconds from now.
Too bad they couldn't have made it the 13th flight of Transporter-13 on Friday the 13th. Yeah, I know, right?
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There it goes.
And good call out there for entry burn startup of the Falcon 9
So
first
there's
stage.
the circular
This burn will last for
burn.
about 15 seconds, and as a reminder, is on the left-hand side of your screen.
Well, that's interesting. Do they only do 1 engine burn on RTLS for entry burn?
And good call out there for entry burn shutdown.
Maybe
Now,
they
as I
only
mentioned
do 1
earlier,
entry
we will
or
be
1
attempting to
engine on
recover
the
this booster for its
RTLS, because that did not
13th
look like a
time
3
today,
engine
and we're
burn.
targeting a land-based landing at Vandenberg's LZ4.
And there you're seeing
Stage
plasma
1
accumulation
FTS
on the grid fins.
Good call out there.
That's
Now,
the
today's
plasma
landing burn
that
attempt
will
be a
eat away your
3-engine
engine.
landing burn,
Oh, and
where
look at
engines
that.
1, 5, and 9
You can see
will
the coast
relight
of
to really
Vandenberg
quickly
here.
slow the vehicle down before
And then
touchdown.
right below us is the landing site, LZ4.
We should be hearing that call out for landing burn startup in just about 15 seconds from now.
Stage 1 transonic.
There we go. There's the landing zone.
Stage
You
1
just see the
landing burn.
lights kind of over
And there you
here.
heard that call out for
Yep,
the landing
there's the
burn
lights of
start
the
on
landing
Falcon 9
zone.
first
Perfect.
stage. This is the final burn that this booster will see before touching down on LZ4.
Wait. The sonic boom, though, chat. We gotta listen to the sonic boom.
Down on Falcon 9 first. And there you heard that call out for the landing burn start on the Falcon 9 first
There
stage.
it is. Pow, pow, pow.
This is the final burn that this booster will see before touching down on LZ4.
Nice.
Deploy.
So good, chat. Oh, it never gets old.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
There you go.
And as you saw and probably
13th
heard, we had a
flight.
successful first stage landing at landing zone 4, marking the 13th landing for this
Stage
specific
2 is in terminal guidance.
And we had a good call out there.
And then
Now,
watch
next up, we're
the
expecting
shutdown, right? When the engine shuts down, you'll see the transients of the shutdown process go into the structure of the expansion bell here, and you'll see it just undulate. It'll just go wobble, wobble, wobble.
Of the second stage MVAC engine in just about 20 seconds from now.
Watch for the shutdown here.
MVAC shutdown.
And there it goes. You see it? Wobble, wobble, wobble.
FTS is safe.
MVAC shutdown.
Oh, that's so good.
Stage 2 FTS is safe.
MVAC shutdown.
We'll be able to see it during the startup. Do this, the startup and shutdown. Do this as well. But for now, chat. Again, we wait. We wait until what'd I say? 1 hour and 45 minutes into flight. I think somewhere around there. We sit and we wait, chat. Sit and we wait. And we chill. And we chill some more. We have about at least, and what is it? 45 minutes from now before the next deployment sequence. So yes, we have a hot minute. Let's see. So we got Loft Orbital. So let's see what we saw here, right? So we already saw this one go. That was Clarity 1 Albedo. We saw Space IT. We saw Turion with their droid. We saw LizzieSat. We saw Varda Winnebago go. We saw the deorbit ion vehicle, the orbital transfer vehicle go. And we basically saw most, or we didn't see all of them, but we basically all of these CubeSats at the bottom deployed. All of the exo launch ones, the ones in these blue deployers, all of those went. We saw this one go. That was the 12U CubeSat from Georgia Tech right there. So yeah, got a lot of them done. So we still have a lot more though. Like I said, only 25, right? Only 25 out of 74 actually deployed there, if I'm not mistaken. So we still got a good number to go through. We have Lemur 2, we have Soap, we have another Lemur 2, another Lemur 2, another Lemur 2. Let me see, what are the big one? We have the Pandor, we have Hyrid, we have Ezzy, which is the NASA ones, if I'm not mistaken. Another Lemur 2. Oh yeah, we have all the ISI satellites. That's one of the ISI satellites right there. We also have the FireSat deployment right there as well. So yeah, we got still a very large number of separations to occur, because we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, wait. So that was 14. And then that is another 9. That's 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32. No, that was 29. 29 total. Because one of them was like a bunch of 1U CubeSat. So it was like one deployment, but you basically open up the CubeSat deployer and you just let all the CubeSats out. All the 1U CubeSats out. So what are they carrying here? 74 satellites is what they're carrying here. 13 launches means it just has as many launches as Saturn V. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true. I had to think about that for a second. But yeah, Graham, just a bunch of different satellites for a bunch of different service providers. We have Muon, Space, FireSat. We have ISI's X satellites. This was a Rocket Lab satellite bus with a Varda re-entry capsule payload. Sidus Space, Albedo. This was SatRack Initiative, which is a South Korea company. Deorbit, and a whole bunch of CubeSats. Like all of this entire ring down here, CubeSats. 74, yeah, 74 missions on this one particular transporter mission. Which isn't even the record for SpaceX, right? But still really, really good. Do we have any updates from SpaceX while they're doing this? Any updated videos and stuff? Here's all the crew capsule stuff that we saw today. I wonder if they're going to show deployments here. Oh, they showed the landing. They're not showing any deployments yet. But they are showing all the landing stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, astronauts are on orbit, chat, which is pretty crazy. Astronauts are on orbit. Nice. But yeah, like I said, we sit, and we do what, chat? We sit and we wait. That's what we do. That's what we do. Oh, damn, another gram. I know, right? That's okay. You're predominant, so that's fine, right? It's totally okay. But yeah, it's been a pretty good day for spaceflight, chat. We have obviously Crew 10 carrying astronauts to the International Space Station. We had Electron launching a SAR payload into low Earth orbit as well. So we saw that almost immediately after the Crew 10 launch. And now we're having Transporter flying 74 missions. And then, oh, by the way, chat, did I forget to mention that in like 4 hours from now, we have another mission? Well, technically, what time is it? Yeah, technically in 2 hours from now, no, 3 hours from now, we have a Russia Angara mission, which is actually really cool. Angara, I really like that mission, but no, probably not gonna try and stay up for that one. And then at 5:35 a.m. Mountain Time, which is also in about 3 hours, we should have another Starlink mission if that sticks, launching out of Slick 40 from Cape Canaveral. So, you know, if you guys want, the launches are going to keep coming. I'm probably not going to be able to cover that because I'm sluggish. I'm already sluggish, chat. But yeah, if you're up for it, there are more launches to occur. One from Roscosmos and another one from SpaceX. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Ooh, nice shot. Look at this, chat. This is coming from Trevor. Look at that. That's out of Vandenberg. Look at that. Oh, that's such a good picture. So that's the re-entry burn. Is that a star or a satellite? Or a plane, maybe? There's the second stage. That's the plume impingement that we saw happening. There's the landing burn. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's actually really good. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely really good. That's a screensaver, isn't it? Yeah, it truly is. Oh, what else we got on the X feed while we're just chilling and waiting? Because we have, let me see, it's 1 hour and 44 minutes into flight right now. Yep, they just finished Seco. Yeah, okay, cool. Very good, very good. We're still waiting, we're still chilling, chat. So they already completed one to do a little bit of a maneuver boost, and then we basically have 20 minutes from now another one. So we're coasting for another 20 minutes or so. Did you see that? Look at this, chat. That's crazy. This is coming from Spaceflight Now at Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and Falcon 9 is going upright for Starlink. So 3 hours. Well, I guess this was technically 6 hours before the launch, but yeah, like they just finished Crew 10 and Falcon 9 is being verticated for another mission. Like, man, there's no chill at SpaceX, right, chat? Like, the ground crew teams are just cranking them out, man. That is pretty awesome to see. Like I said, SpaceX is on the way for 170 missions scheduled for this year. So, how do you hit 170 missions? You just don't stop. That's 15 flights a month, chat, for the whole year. 15 flights a month. Actually, is that actually more than that? Yeah, it's averaging 14 to 15 flights a month. So yeah, overall, that's just crazy. Yeah, we were talking about the Bryce space report earlier, showing just the number of launches, like the global number of launches that occurred 10 years ago. So in 2014, we had like 70, maybe even lower than that, like 60 in the entire world launching in 1 year. In 2024, last year, the total number was 259 flights in the world. And of course, SpaceX had 134 of those. SpaceX had more than half of the entire number of launches in the world in 2024. So there's that. There is that. I wonder how much talent they've taken from the airline industry, because these turnarounds look more like aircraft than legacy rockets. Yeah, they have it down pat for sure. No matter what it is, they definitely have it down pat. We are still sitting and we're still waiting, chat. What did I just say, chat? So this is coming from NASA spaceflight. Look at this. NASA spaceflight is showing more operations around Cape Canaveral. And they actually even say, SpaceX does not sleep. Another Falcon 9 booster rolls out on KSC, potentially for Starlink 12.5. So Starlink 12.5, when is that? That's 12.16, 12.25. That's supposed to be on Tuesday. Tuesday of this week. Whether or not that holds, I don't know, because of the NROL launch, but Tuesday, Thursday, like there's, oh, that's Vandenberg, sorry. Never mind, yeah, there's no, yeah, that's Cape Canaveral, that's Vandenberg, so yeah, there's no way that that's interfering. But yeah, they already have the next flight rolling on to KSC proper. That's just insane. It would be crazy to see this cadence with Starship. Yeah, Thailand, that's true. I don't know when that'll happen though. But they are opening another Starship development facility at Cape Canaveral this year. Didn't Elon say he wanted to fly the first Starship out of Cape Canaveral by like June, by like summer? I don't know if that'll slip with you know, the V2 Starship problems they're having, but we'll have to see. Do you know how many missions a Dragon 2 spacecraft can fly until it's retired? I don't know if we've hit that mark, right? I don't know. Didn't they say, oh gosh, I vaguely remember them saying something like 10, but I don't know. That's like a number that's just floating in my mind right now. But yeah, if anybody in chat on either YouTube or Twitch knows how many reuses can a Crew Dragon get that they've designed for, I don't know off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like 10 at least, but yeah, I don't know. SpaceX philosophy is if there isn't a rocket on the pad, you're wasting time. I mean, that's technically true, at least from the launch perspective. But you got to have the payloads, and sadly, the satellite payload development community is not there yet. Also, this is not a replay. The satellite development industry is still a little slow, right? Because the average, if you guys don't know this, the average satellite development timeline is still something on the order of like 18 months to go from like concept into develop satellite. So kind of a bummer. Some of the capsules getting in their age. Yeah, the one that flew today, this is its 4th flight. It's had 520 days in orbit. Now, I guess more than that. Yeah, it has over 1,000 days in its lifespan, because I think this is coming off of a 500-day turnaround time. Because its last mission was Crew 7 back in 2023. So the capsule that just flew today is already, you know, like what, 3 or 4 years old, which is kind of crazy to think about. All right, we're just still chilling, chat. We're still chilling. Because what do they say? They're going to be back at 2 hours and 14 minutes into flight. Yeah, 2 hours and 14 minutes into flight. So we basically got another 20 minutes or so. And here I am just trying to make it to the end of the mission. Whew. I am feeling it, chat. I am feeling it. At least I think after this, everything should go in pretty quick succession. Yeah, all the rest of the payloads should go in very quick succession. So I think we have, according to their online SpaceX.com countdown table, they start deploying again at 2 hours and 17 minutes. And then their last deployment is at 2 hours and 22 minutes. So it takes 5 minutes to go through the other 35 or 40 spacecraft. So should be pretty quick from here on out. After we get this next burn done. Yeah, after we get the next burn done, it should be close to finishing the mission. Yeah, we just gotta sit and we wait, chat. Sit and we wait for another 20 minutes. Which was the space manufacturing company on this launch? The one making satellites in space. Making satellites in space? I don't think they were making satellites in space. You're talking about Varda, the one that had the re-entry capsule that was doing in-space manufacturing? They're not doing in-space manufacturing of satellites, but of like materials that require like zero gravity, or like pharmaceuticals that require zero gravity. Is that who you're talking about? Because to my knowledge, I don't think I covered one that was doing satellites in space. There are a number of tech demonstrators for in-space servicing, for like repairing satellites and stuff in space, so there's a number of those. Oh, that, no, so their satellite bus is 3D printed. They're not 3D printing it in space. Yeah, there's one that's looking at mass producing their satellites, and they're using 3D printing to build the structure here on the ground. That's Sidus Space. That was the Lizzie spacecraft. If I can find that picture again. So from here, it was this one, the octagonal one. That bus structure was 3D printed. Yeah, I think, let me see. At least I'm pretty sure it was 3D printed. That was a big thing that they were touting. Sidus Space, yeah. See if they have on their X account the partnership agreement. Ready for launch. See, look at that little guy, little hexagon. I mean, it's not really a little guy, right? But it's a little guy for our spacecraft. Oh, that was the previous one. That was Lizzie 2. Yeah, that was Lizzie 2 back in December of 2024. They're pumping them out, chat. Sidus Space. Where I swear I saw on their channel somewhere mention of 3D printing. Maybe it was on their website. Oh, there we go. Mark Forge printers for in-house 3D printing, yielding major benefits, faster production, customers, cost savings. Yeah, this is them testing their using like ABS plastic or PLA or something to actually fully 3D print their bus structures. But yeah, see, they want it to be 3D printed, which is actually really cool. Oh, that's the separator that they use. That's from Exo Launch, right? Yep, Exo Launch separator. You can tell it's Exo Launch because of the way that it is. They're the only ones that have that blue-black color scheme. I swear there was another big post about 3D printing, but maybe it was on their website. I'll have to check it out. Oh, look at that though. See, look at that little octagon. They use sandwiched honeycomb panels as the internal structure, and then they have these plates that all bolt together, and so you basically get one structure, and you can actually 3D print all of these different parts, right? So let's see, what are we looking at here? So there's a reaction wheel. Remove before flight. That looks to be maybe a patch antenna for a radio, or no, that actually might be a Earth imaging system, like a lens cap on that Earth imaging system. That also looks like those might be cameras as well. But yeah, that's the guts. Look at all that wiring, chat. What a nightmare that would be, right? Markforged are interesting ones. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, look at that. Where are we at? Oops, that was the wrong thing. Where are we at with the... All right, we still got another 14 minutes at least. Ugh, man, how would you like to be the electrical engineer here? Look at all the cabling. Oh, that's so gross. That's so gross. No, I do not envy. Do not envy. Oh, there you go. There's the S-band antennas. Nice. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool what they're doing. Oh, there you go. Let's see. Sidus Space 3D printing. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard of particularly Markforged. Sidus Space. No, nothing here. So let's go to sidusspace.com or Sidus Space Home and see what we got. Yep, there's their satellite. Smart vertical integration. The comprehensive and adaptable solution, chat. Manufacturing, harness. Oh, they do harness fabrication too. So all that wiring, they build it in-house. Interdasting. Data, artificial intelligence, platforms, LizzieSat. S-band for telemetry, X-band for payload data transfer, GNC for with optional propulsion, health and status monitoring for customers. So they can do 35 kilograms of payload at 27 U. There's that U again, that universal unit for space systems, and then slightly lower for propulsion options. But yeah, Markforged. Is that what it was? Markforged? Let's see here. Markforged. What do we have? Transforming manufacturing with revolutionary affordable metal and carbon fiber 3D printers. Interesting. I've heard of them. I don't think I've checked on them in a long time. Yeah, that's cool. For metal 3D printing. So that's cool. So Sidus Space is looking at, I guess, partnering with, oh, there you go. Is that what this is? It looks like it. Yeah, there you go. Sidus Space was up for the challenge. We 3D printed a satellite with Sidus Space. So yeah, let's see what this is about. Well, we still have a few minutes. It's only a 7-minute video. Yeah, look at that. Now, is that plastic or is it metal? Because it looks like plastic. Or maybe it's carbon fiber, rather. If he's carrying it like that, yeah, that's either plastic or carbon fiber. There's no way you're carrying a metal satellite even that big. Yeah, there's no way. Mark IVs are FDM printers, but they are the only ones that can add continuous carbon or Kevlar to their prints, which results in insanely tough prints. They start at 7,000 a pop. Nice. Yeah, I'm not playing any audio because I don't want it to mute the VOD, so I'm just letting it run visually. I just wanted to see what they were kind of like printing or using it for. But yeah, they basically built a 3D prototype of their entire Lizzie sat, which is really cool. But again, I do wonder if that's like carbon, because it's definitely not metal. It's plastic. Their metal prints are powders and polymer binders that get sintered. Oh, okay, so it's like that. Gotcha. So they have metal powder like mixed into the plastic, and then you burn out the plastic. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jersey. Yeah, I got it. Let's see, are they playing music here? Yeah, they're playing music, unfortunately. I'd listen to it, I just don't want YouTube to mark it, so. What kind of station is that, though? I'll see that? What is that? Is that supposed to be the, I guess that is supposed to be the International Space Station. Because that's the big solar panels and those are the radiators, but it just looks weird. Like, is that... Anybody else think that that just looks weird? Like, is that some ISS, like, mashup with something else? Or am I just being silly? $7,000 for that, huh? Yeah, look at that thing. That thing is huge. Because you need a kiln, right? You need a kiln, and you gotta like put the final printed part in the kiln and like burn it for, you know, at 1,000 degrees for however long until you burn out all the plastic, and then the entire metal basically melts together and forges together. Looks like a little flat sat kit for testing. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, there you go. They're looking at different materials. They're looking to 3D print. What's the final product look like that they were looking at? Did we get the final product? No? Okay. But anyways, that's cool. Yeah, so that's LizzieSat. That's Side of Space that are looking at 3D printing their satellite bus. So not bad. All right, we got another 10 minutes before they should be back with their next orbital burn for second stage engine start number 4. Number 4. But again, chat, we sit and we wait. Should be coming up here in the next 10 minutes on this burn. And then we have like another, like I said, 30 satellites to deploy. And it should be in pretty quick succession. So again, going back to the picture that we saw earlier. So that was LizzieSat that we were looking at. That's already deployed. This is already deployed. A couple of these have already deployed. A lot of these have already deployed. That's already deployed. That one's already deployed, and these two big ones have already deployed. So the ones we still haven't seen are this one, and there's actually 3 more just like it. We haven't seen the FireSat 0 prototype fly. Let me see here. A few of these haven't been deployed yet. And then this one I don't think has been deployed yet either. I think that might be YAM 8, but I'm not exactly sure. It still looks too big to me to be YAM 8 from Loft Orbital, but it might be. And then on the other side, there's still a number that haven't flown yet either. So yeah, overall, we still have a lot of CubeSats. We have all the Lemur satellites, right? So Lemur satellites are in part of the ExoLaunch deployers, so not all of the ExoLaunch deployers have gone. But there's like 6 Lemur sats, if not more than that. So yeah, definitely have a few satellites in our purview here on the next bout. Turion has already flown. We saw that one. We have a nanosat. Actually, I think it's a nanosat. Yeah, I think it's, or it might be a mini sat from Nano Avionics. Nano Avionics is I think they're based out of Norway, if I'm not mistaken. Developing small sats. I don't see them here though. Unless they're in a deployer, but I don't see them here. I think they're too big to be in a deployer. I don't think they're a CubeSat size. I think they're a mini-sat size, so it's a little bit too big. Can't wait to see a CubeSat ride share on Starship. Yeah, launching 1,000 CubeSats in one go. Can you imagine? That'd be like a 12-hour mission. Yeah, all of this coming up here in just 8 minutes from now. They'd run out of clients fast? Yeah, probably. I'm honestly kind of shocked that transporter missions aren't more common. They do one a quarter, but I've actually heard as early as like last year or a couple years ago that SpaceX is having trouble filling even their transporter missions. Which is why, because if you guys remember when transporter missions were originally, like their dedicated rideshare missions were originally, what would you call it, debuted or publicly announced, they were saying like they wanted to do like one transporter mission a month, which would be, you know, one rideshare mission like this a month. But then it was like, yeah, we're gonna start quarterly and then we're gonna ramp up, and they never ramped up, and it's still been quarterly for like the last 4 years or however long they've been doing them. So. So yeah, it's surprising that, yeah, the launch industry is willing, but the satellite development market is not there yet, surprisingly. 150,000 tons at 1 kilogram per U. Yep. Basically. Actually, technically like 1.75 kilograms per U, but yeah. I think the average is like 1.75 kilograms per U. Maybe it's 1.5. It's not 1 though. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just being pedantic. Yeah, what would be really interesting to see, actually, chat, while we have a few minutes here. So we were talking about SpaceX, right? If you guys don't know, K2 Space. K2 Space is one to look at because what they want to develop are satellites designed for Starship. And what does that mean? They want to develop massive satellites. Not only are they designed to stack like this, but also like single go satellites that are actually fill up the entire volume of Starship. So they're starting obviously small because, well, SpaceX doesn't have Starship operational yet. But yeah, they actually got their start, their original funding, because they want to develop satellites that actually fit Starship, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, that's what they want to do. K2 Space maximizes the amount of power, mass, and volume that can be deployed with today's launch vehicles and the launch vehicles of tomorrow. But yeah, K2 Space is pretty cool. I think even Gravitics is like looking to do this as well, but for space stations. Yeah, Gravitics wants to make huge space stations, like very, very wide space station modules. Do they show this in like Starship? I think they used to, but I don't remember. Like, look how big that is. Yeah, so Gravitics wants to essentially be able to use Starship for building space stations. Like, look at that. Let's learn more. Real estate in space. I want to see, what is the actual diameter of this? Because I'm pretty sure this is designed for Starship, essentially. It might be able to fit in some others, but it's like designed for Starship. Doesn't say, I guess it doesn't say their dimensions anywhere, does it? Beats Biotech. Ooh, look at that. An orbital garage. Manufacturing facilities. An arena. Microgravity entertainment. Oh, I see. Damn. That's awesome. But yeah, anyways, they're looking to do really large stuff in space too. Would this become an issue with Starship though, because it would need even more customers? Yeah, of course, exactly, Slubman. So there's only so much that they can do, right? which is why SpaceX is technically not really developing it for commercial enterprise. They're more developing it for themselves to go to Mars. Like, using it for commercial enterprise is great and all, but it's not their big picture, right? Bigger space station modules is becoming a more common sentiment, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it really is. It really has been for a while, for sure. But yeah, all of these companies coming online, itching for SpaceX and Starship to be a thing. But not even that, right? Like K2 Space can probably fit their satellites into even like New Glenn's payload bay, just because of the sheer volume that it has, right? And so that would actually be pretty good as well, right? Because New Glenn is a 7 meter, right? Isn't it 7 meters? Vulcan is 5 meters. Vulcan is huge. Like beforehand, we were looking at like 3.5 meter size diameters, right? But now with Vulcan being a 5 meter, New Glenn being a 7 meter, and then of course Starship being a 9 meter. Like, yeah, you could basically design for Vulcan or even New Glenn and still have a massive system that has never been possible before. They can launch stuff like James Webb and ISS modules together, in fact. Yeah, they have interesting use cases for sure. Yeah, can you imagine, like, if he had a slightly larger volume, like a volume the size of like New Glenn, 7 meter payload fairing, James Webb would not have needed all of the tricks up its sleeve that it required to deploy all of its systems, right? Like, you guys remember looking at James Webb Space Telescope and how it was like an origami spacecraft. It had like 300 something single point failures because all of them were like pulleys that had to deploy the big solar shade and whatnot. Like, if you had more room in like Starship or probably better New Glenn actually for that use case, maybe wouldn't have to have so many. All right, second stage engine start.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to our live coverage of the Transporter-13 mission. We're currently just about a minute away from the third.
Look at that short little startup.
MVAC engine on the Falcon 9
Nominal orbit insertion.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And good call out there for nominal orbital insertion. Now, our final payload deployment sequence should begin in just under 3 minutes from now.
So their clock there at the bottom is not correct. Like, they have already done their second stage engine start number 4, right? Isn't that what we just saw? So I think this is wrong. Yeah, we are.
As a reminder, today we are delivering 74 payloads across 47 deployments tonight. We've already deployed the first batch of 25, and now we've got 22 left to go.
Cool. So when they say 25, they don't mean 25 satellites, 25 deployment processes.
In case you're just
Because some of them, like the Israeli Tel Aviv University satellites that were deployed, those are 9 1U CubeSats, and so they deployed like multiple of them at the same time.
Full ignition, and we just saw that fourth MVAC ignition and cut off. So now we're standing by for the next series of payload deployments.
Yep, so now we sit and we wait, chat. So the next deployment process should be around 2:17 unless their clock is off, which the clock
now,
might
as
be
we
off.
mentioned earlier, a full list of the payloads on tonight's mission is available at spacex.com/launches.
Could you imagine a James Webb that needs to fold up to fit into a New Glenn bay? It'd be halfway to a Dyson sphere.
And SpaceX's rideshare program
maybe.
was expanded to accommodate even more small sats looking for rides. Falcon 9 has already previously launched its first 2 bandwagon missions, which is a separate line of rideshare missions that will deliver spacecraft to mid-inclination orbit rather than the transporter's sun-synchronous orbit.
All right, should be hearing it pretty soon here. They'll start with Lemur 2 Balto. They have a bunch of Lemur 2 satellites that are going to go. Pretty sure those are 6U CubeSats.
Now, as a reminder, we've got 22 unique deployment events that'll begin in about a minute and a half from now. These will individually separate from Falcon 9's second stage, one right after the other, and we should hear those callouts for these over the nets as they're deployed. We are expecting to have live views for the second set of deployments.
So this one right here in the foreground has not gone yet. It's still spring-loaded closed. So that one we should get a little pop-up. We probably won't see the CubeSat really come out of it, though.
Lemur to Balto, deploy confirmed.
There we go. So Lemur 2 Balto.
Soap, deploy confirmed.
Soap, we have another Lemur 2.
Lemur to Marache Fran, deploy confirmed.
Oh, look. Wait, is that?
Pandora,
Yeah, is that the moon in the background? That might be the moon in the background. Oh. Come on. Camera stabilize.
Lemur to the Falconer, deploy confirmed.
Yeah, all the Lemur 2 satellites. I don't know if we're going to have
Lemur to
images
Emerson
of it.
Rose, deploy confirmed. UVSQ Sat NG, deploy confirmed.
Yeah, these are all the small ones, I think. The next one should be an exo launch satellite.
Hybrid, deploy confirmed.
We're not getting any of the camera person chat.
EZA, deploy confirmed.
Oh, look at that. There we go. 6U CubeSat. We should have another one in the same spot go for the next one. There's two there, I think. EZA, EZB.
EZB, deploy confirmed.
There it goes. And then we should have another Lemur satellite.
Lemur to Leah Martin, deploy confirmed.
We're going to have Buccaneer Main, which is another CubeSat.
Buccaneer Main, deploy confirmed.
Oh, we see the shadow of it. It's in the background there. Yep, see? Look at the shadow of it. That's cool. Should see another Easy or Ezzy. I think it should be over here somewhere. Look at the Earth, though. Look at those clouds. That cloud formation. Hey, Captain Failure, how are you? It's a big cloud
EZC,
formation.
deploy confirmed.
Oh, look, there it goes. Nice.
Lemur to Deloitte 1, deploy confirmed.
All right, now we should see ISI 1. So we're going to have a big satellite.
ISI 1, deploy confirmed.
We're going to have a big satellite deploy, but the camera is not looking at it, so that's unfortunate. Next, we should have... Oh, there it is! Nice. It was blocked by this exo launcher here.
Arvacker 1, deploy confirmed.
The camera's not happy right now. Then we'll have another Lemur 2 satellite. A lot of Lemur 2s. I think that's the last one, though. Camera link is not happy. Is this special payload fairing going to be recovered? No. The fairings will, but not this payload attachment fitting. Or payload attachment structure. Nope, it'll burn up with the second stage.
Lemur to Leah Phillip, deploy confirmed.
Nope, I saw the shadow of it. I think. Now we should have another ISI. I think that's an ISI right there. I don't know if it'll be the one that we see deploy here, though. To make separation sounds? It's space. There is no separation sound in space. Oh, man. Come on. I swear, though, the camera work has some stuff left to be desired. All right, FireSat. FireSat should be easy. It's on the other camera, I think, unless it's behind one of the EXO launches. FireSat's a big, big payload. It's like the third largest payload here, maybe fourth largest.
FireSat 0, deploy confirmed.
You had one job. One job, cameraman. All right, now we have Yam 8. When is this from? It's from now, actually, Pineways. It's from right this second.
Yam 8.
There it goes,
confirmed.
yeah. That's yet another mission, Yam, the 8th mission there for Loft Orbital. Next one we have is Ice 3. There it goes. Look at that guy. That's cool. And last one of the evening is Ice 4. ISI 4.
ISI 4, deploy confirmed. ISI 3, deploy confirmed.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And that's it. That should be the end of
And
it.
that brings us to the end of our second deployment sequence.
Nice.
With that confirmation, we've successfully deployed all Transporter-13 payloads.
All 74 payloads,
What a
chat.
night. We'd like to thank all of our rideshare customers for entrusting us with their spacecraft today. Now, just to recap, that was 74
payloads.
In about a minute and a half from now. These will individually...
Oh, see, look, there it is right there. That's one of the ISI satellites. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, the second round of separation events did not get very good camera footage, but you know, oh well, what are you gonna do, right?
Lemur 2.
A lot of them were in these CubeSat deployers here, so not a lot to be seen here, unfortunately.
ISI confirmed.
We saw that one good CubeSat though coming out of this batch. I think it was from the NASA, the LZ missions, I think is what they're called, or EZI. I think they're called EZI. Yeah, camera's not happy here.
FireSat 0, deploy confirmed.
I hate we couldn't see FireSat though. FireSat was a really big spacecraft. I don't see it in any of the camera views here. Yep, 74 satellites, 1 launch vehicle. Should have Yam 8, which is going to be this one right here.
Yam 8, deploy confirmed.
There it goes. Ever so gently. And then we have ISI 3. There it goes. Nice. And then we have, last but not least, ISI 4 out of this batch.
ISI 4, deploy confirmed. ISI 3, deploy confirmed.
There we go. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so where's that CubeSat that we saw out of this batch?
Third success.
We did see a CubeSat here somewhere.
Are expecting to...
Where is it? Where is it? It's not from this camera angle. It's from the other one. Here it is, yeah.
Lemur 2, Morache Fron, deploy confirmed.
So yeah, that's the moon in the background, I'm pretty sure, actually.
Pandora, deploy confirmed.
Oh, we saw the shadow from Pandora. We should have EZI. EZI's going to be here.
Lemur 2, the Falconer, deploy confirmed.
Okay, then it's going to be another Lemur.
2, Emerson Road, ES.
We don't get to see any of these ones, so I'm fast forwarding. Next one we see should be the EZI A and EZI B deploy.
Hybrid, deploy confirmed.
That'll be after this one here. Starlink already has over 7,000 satellites up there. They have over 8,000 satellites up there, yeah. That's all out of all of our atmosphere, and the increase of space debris in orbit is a real worry. Yeah, it's definitely something to be on the lookout for, but it's not a big issue yet. What's actually great, though, at least, is that there is starting to be a lot of funding for what's known as in-space servicing, assembly, and manufacturing. And so I think that market right now is on the order of like 7 billion, which is actually pretty awesome. And you have both sides of the space debris problem being tackled, which is great, right? So you have the reactive side, which is, hey, we have this piece of space debris that we're tracking. We need to send something to go and get it and either deorbit it or move it around. That's reactive to space debris. And then there's at least a couple, which is, I wish that there were more of them. There's at least a couple working on the proactive side, which is, how do we keep space debris from being created in the first place, right? But yeah, luckily, space debris, yes, it is something to be worried or to be wary of, but space is so big that luckily it's not an issue yet. But yeah, that doesn't mean that it should not be. Oh, there it is. So there's a 6U CubeSat right there. But yeah, 8,000 satellites from Starlink. We're launching 74 here. Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind for sure. Space is cool for sure, but exploring it with no thought to the future risk. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and there's also new regulations that are at least now in place saying that all satellites have to be able to deorbit in low Earth orbit within 7 years of their decommissioning.
Deploy confirmed.
I know that sounds like a long time, but at least that's better than what we used to have, which was no regulations for deorbiting. So we're working towards it, but not at, unfortunately, any sort of fast pace. Oh, you saw me rewind earlier. Yeah. Rewound just a bit so we could replay basically what we're doing now, the first batch, because we had like a hour-long coast phase. But yeah, it was live. Surprised no one else is streaming. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's late. I mean, it's 3 a.m. for me, so, and I'm on Mountain Time. So for probably your normal streamers like EJ who would be covering this, it's already 6 a.m. for him. Kessler syndrome really isn't a risk until you get mid-high orbits. Maybe. Like, what do you mean by that, Morden? Ooh, Rocky Mountain High. Hell yeah, there you go. That can't apply to geostationary orbit, this deorbit requirement? Correct. No, for geostationary orbit, the regulation that they're trying to push for is that any spacecraft in geostationary orbit has to be able to self-propel itself. Has to be self-propelled after like its near end of life to a graveyard orbit, which is an offset orbit that is dedicated to basically space debris. To try and make sure that, you know, things don't get trapped in geostationary orbit in those slots that are very, very valuable. So that's kind of an already existing regulation. But for like low Earth orbit stuff, like anything operating like I don't remember where the regulation is. It's like from 300 kilometers or, you know, basically from, you know, 0 altitude all the way up to like 600 or 700 kilometers altitude. You have to be able to deorbit within 7 years. Because here's the thing, right? Anything that's over, like, say, 800 kilometers in altitude will almost never re-enter. Like, it would take, like, 100 years to re-enter. It takes a very, very long time, even after, you know, even at just a low altitude, like 800 kilometers. Because, as you can imagine, the atmospheric decay is exponential. So at 500 kilometers altitude, which is where these satellites are, well, they're at 600. 600, it's going to take like 20 years for them to deorbit if they had nothing else. So now new regulations are in place that say, hey, if you're within this certain altitude, you have to be able to deorbit within 7 years. So there's technologies coming out like deployment tethers that increase the drag on the spacecraft and things of that nature, or just active propulsion systems like they actually have one company developing modular solid rocket motors that once the vehicle has basically entered its decommissioning phase, you have that solid rocket motor that can just fire once and deorbit your satellite, or at least knock it into a very low altitude. So there are things like that that are happening now, which is good. But Starlink rushed to get them up before regulations. Yeah, but Starlink is at least wary of that, right, Hungry? Because Starlink enters at 500 kilometers. Actually, I think they're a little bit lower. Aren't they at like 450 kilometer orbits? And they're so big that they actually, we know from historical records of watching their first batch of Starlinks, they will decay within a pretty short amount of time. Like, there's a reason why SpaceX, yes, is sending so many up, but they're also at a lower altitude than even these satellites are, so they will decay faster. So yeah, Starlink is actually not something to at least worry about yet, which is actually a good thing, right? Like, they are actually keeping track of that. Oh, there was that CubeSat if you guys missed it.
Easy B, deploy confirmed.
Look at that guy. Isn't that awesome? A little shoebox-sized satellite going into orbit here. But yeah, that was a great mission. that was a great mission overall, chat. I gotta say.
Leah Martin.
I gotta say that was a good one. I haven't seen a rideshare mission like that in a while. Like probably since, I don't know, early of last year that we were actually able to cover a rideshare mission. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But that is going to have to do it for me. Why? Because it is 3 a.m. for me. We've already been streaming for coming up on 3 hours. I am tired. It's been a long day. Happy Friday going into Saturday. Technically it's Saturday now. But yeah, time to shut the stream down. So much love for all of you hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage. Don't forget, technically, if you're up, there's going to be, I believe, a Starlink mission, another Starlink mission launching in like 3 hours from now. So if you're up, like if this is normal waking time for you, especially if you're one of our European friends, yeah, you should just watch another SpaceX mission happen in like 3 hours from now. So anyways, I'm out. Everyone have a great evening, a good Saturday wherever you may be. And next stream for me will probably be on Sunday. But we'll be back at Kerbal Space Program and shenanigans and who knows what. But until then, chat. Until then.